Welcome to the Origin of the Maker podcast, episode 3 with Wulfgar Weapons and Props. I'm your host, Will, and today we have a special guest host, Freddie from Iron Grizzly Props.
How you doing, guys?
And our guest today is Wulfgar from Weapons and Props. How's it going, buddy?
Hi, good. I'm James Wulfgar from Wulfgar Weapons and Props, and I also run a cosplay group called Cause Awesome Studios. Really, I started off doing cosplay, and I've kind of transitioned into prop building.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, good to have you. This is our actual first podcast in person. Last two I was doing over the internet, and it was just me standing in my shop, standing in front of my computer, in front of my mic, hoping that I didn't have to leave. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is good. I think more person like interviews is kind of like more intimate, better because you get a better feel for the person. Because instead of just staring at a Skype screen, talking to people, it's you kind of can't catch their facial cues or tell it like
It's completely different.
Yeah,
it's
it is
like talking on the phone.
And I mean, this way I can reach out and touch that glorious beard that you have right here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't do that on the internet.
This thing took me a while to grow.
I can't grow a beard.
Just you're only 23. It will come in eventually.
Will it though?
Yeah, come on, man.
23. No, it's all good. Yeah.
We can make you a fake one.
I mean, I'm
That's
planning
kind
on
of
doing.
a thing, right?
I'm trying to do plenty of cosplays that require a very long, voluptuous beard.
Yeah, just get some yak hair and some spirit gum. You'll be okay.
That can work.
Yeah, there's some great wig manufacturers out there that do a lot of facial hair. I have a couple of fake beards myself.
Yeah, I think there's a girl on Etsy. I believe it's a girl. I could be wrong. That makes fake mustaches and beards and stuff. I could be totally wrong, but I heard it was a thing on Etsy, so I'm just going to guess and hope I'm right.
I'm just going to plug some names then.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I think Art of Wigs does make some beards, but my two fake beards that I have are from the Custom Wig Company, and Heather Fleming actually runs it.
Okay.
I have to check that name, but I'm pretty sure it's Heather, and but it's Custom Wig Company, and I think she runs it.
Okay.
She's at least involved, and she does great work. They've done great work. I'm very happy with the two fake beards that I have. And the reason I have fake beards, even though I can grow my own beard, is the fact that, when you go to a convention and you have 3 costumes or 4 costumes that you want to wear that weekend, and you're in a group, and the middle costume has a beard, the other 2 don't.
Yeah.
And you got to have that fake beard.
Yeah.
The only thing that would probably be most difficult for me is that for some reason, wigs and fake hair, it grosses me out. Like, I don't know why. Like mannequins that have hair on them for like people who do cosmetology to practice and stuff like that, it grosses me out. I don't know why. It just does. So that's kind of a struggle for me. I'd probably just have to get over it, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of those weird things.
The ones that I have are, they're just basically like very professional, and they have the place where you put your glue, and it's not gross really, at least to me.
Yeah.
But it all depends. Now we've talked about fake beards for a while.
Yeah.
I mean that's definitely a prop. I would consider a lot of those things props.
Prosthetics.
I'm not
Prosthetics.
saying I don't see myself making any fake beards. For sale. I might ninja one up for a second just to make something look good on my face if I'm going to a party or something.
Yeah. Some magic marker and some hope.
I did that with a Guy Fieri cosplay. I just got some mascara.
If you need stubble, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there on how to take like tea, like bags of tea. You literally just open up the bag of tea and spread it out and put some like super glue or whatever.
Oh, that's smart.
And then you can actually put some stuff on it. There's a lot of female cosplayers that need stubble for their gender bent costumes.
Yeah.
And I think they do that. There's all kinds of different ways.
Yeah.
Out there.
So where we're at right now is we are in a makerspace that is, quite honestly, pretty damn cool.
It's very impressive. It's called the Matchbox, correct?
Yeah, it's called the Matchbox Studio, and we're up in. Sorry, that's my phone.
Okay.
We're up in Lafayette, Indiana. We're downtown Lafayette, and I'm actually the Matchbox Maker Lab Manager as
Okay.
well. I do that part time, and then I do Wulfgar Weapons and Cause Awesome Studios as well. But right now we're in one of the I guess rentable rooms. It's a co-working studio. So what
Yeah.
it is everybody can come here and you pay a membership fee to be a member of Matchbox, and then you can come in and work in the area. It's open 24/7. There's free coffee from sponsors. There's snacks, and mainly it gives you a place to work outside of your house. There's
Yeah.
a lot of rooms like the one that we're in right now that you can reserve and literally have a meeting. There's a big TV right behind you. There's a whiteboard here. So honestly, when I take clients to my shop, this is the shop that I come to. We have like three or four different shops around town, depending on what you want to call a shop. But this is definitely the one that I actually meet all my clients at, right? Because
Okay.
one, we can meet in meeting rooms like this, and then two, we have, and I mean, you can look it up on the internet, we have some tours, but we have a maker lab that basically has laser cutters, 3D printers, CNC machines, hand tools, electronics machines. We even have a sewing machine back there and a few other things. It's really awesome in general for me to have gotten lucky enough to have this in town. It wasn't something that I actually took part in actually making, but when it was here, I found it, got super lucky. In fact, it was right near my house, right near where we work. And then since then, I've become the lab manager of the lab, and we were able to get a grant and get more equipment in. So when people talk about how, man, it's awesome to have all that equipment, you have like resin, 3D printers, and that sort of thing. A lot of it was luck. A lot of it was also doing what I will most certainly talk about later on, or we can talk about now, is just networking,
Yeah.
right? Literally getting out there and telling people, hey, I'm a prop builder, or hey, I'm a cosplayer, or any of this other stuff. And then, oh, you should check out this other thing. You should check out this other thing. You should talk to this guy. And there's a lot of rabbit holes, and there's most certainly not enough time in it every day to chase after each one of those. But this one paid off. This one really, really paid off in a real big way.
So for the audience, what you're saying is that since you manage the lab part-time and you run Wulfgar, you are a full-time maker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
And
okay.
also, I mean, I have quite a few people that work for us. And when I say us, I actually, my wife and I own the company. So basically, we have people that run all the shops that we're running.
Okay.
Some of the people have their own company that basically we are outsourcing for or with. Some of them are basically full-time people that work for us. We have a lot of part-time employees. Everybody's a contractor. They're not actually employees. So we have to abide by the contractor laws. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and most of the reason that I'm able to do what I do is the fact I have such an awesome team. And that's the biggest part of it, is building and people management and building that team together. Seth Knight has been with me since the start, and he's been instrumental in all kinds of different things. We have all kinds of different specialists that go through. Reed Brazel's my shop manager, and he kicks severe ass. I've never met a harder worker really than him. So the fact is, when there's so many people, and I could go through a long list of names that work for me and work with me, when you have all those people and coming together, and it really can just click, but a lot of times it takes a lot of work, right? So maybe originally it clicks a little bit, but then there's this person needs to go on vacation, this person needs to do this, so then there's a lot of actual people management that goes on it.
Yeah.
Which I never really thought I was going to have as a prop builder, right? Originally, when we started Wulfgar Weapons and Props, it was mainly just I already had Cause Awesome Studios, right? So that's my parent company. Wulfgar Weapons and Props is a studio of Cause Awesome Studios. So we also have an event studio, we also have a photography studio, we also have a video studio that we're putting together this year, and a couple other, like basically it's that whole parent company owning other companies. So the way it works is I had Cause Awesome Studios. It's really started off as a big friends group of a bunch of like-minded cosplaying people in town. Then we expanded outside of town when we started going to conventions. It's just been a blast ever since. We still do a lot of Cause Awesome events. We run our own kind of cosplay / photographer convention, and it's coming up in May. And
That's
basically, it's an invite thing. It's an invite-only event, but really, it's just that way because we just don't want any random person that nobody knows to come by.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys want to come by or anything like that happen, if you guys want to recommend people, I always take recommendations. It's not something that we try to make it exclusive. When I say invite only, it's definitely one of those things that people are like, oh man, you guys are trying to be elitist. That's not the case. It's mainly just the fact that we don't want to open it to the general public and want to know the people who are coming in.
Elitist in Indiana.
If somebody comes in and they're
Who is that
an
guy?
asshole, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can cuss on this. Hopefully we can, because I cuss all the fucking time.
It's the furthest thing from friendlies I can think of.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
So I'm not worried about it.
I mean, if you're making props and you're not used to hearing cursing by now, I mean, you shouldn't really be operating any power tools if you're not at least knowing curse words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to judge people on whether they curse or not curse, but I cuss a lot.
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, I do too.
You know, we've all had that point where in our shop's working on something and something goes horribly wrong, and the next thing you know, it's 5 minutes later, it's destroyed, and you've said fuck 50 times.
Well, and that's part of the reason that my kids that I have aren't allowed in the shop, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes, if I have a shop that we work out of my basement too, there's most certainly times when you hear machine gun fire of cuss words coming up the stairs, and I'm like, all right, we should probably go in the other room, kids.
Yeah.
Something like that. But again, I don't really mind. We kind of segued into cussing. It's one of those things I think that you should be free to express yourself however you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally acceptable. I'm not worried about trying to censor anybody.
But yeah, I mean,
Well, in that case,
Well,
so I run Cause Awesome Studios, and basically Wulfgar Weapons became a studio of Cause Awesome Studios.
Okay.
And luckily, it's actually Wulfgar Weapons itself has taken off to the point where now we hire people in specifically for Wulfgar Weapons. The cool thing about it is we're able to sell, props to people that both custom request props, so we do custom commissions all the time, and then we also are able to do kind of our standard base set of things that we sell. A lot of that comes from having a team that knows how to build, and when you come in as a new employee of Wulfgar Weapons, we show you some of the base builds, and then as you decide, or as we figure out, and as you figure out what you like to do, then you get assigned other things. So it's nice that we're not just coming in and saying, hey, new guy, I'd like you to build a whole suit of armor, right? Right? You know how to do that, right? No?
like a full suit of armor? I don't know. What is it? But no, that's cool, man. That's really cool. You had a whole team of people, and you got a system of doing things that's working.
and not many people can say that they have. I mean, you said they're contracted in, but they're technically employees that help you build what is requested of you.
Well, I mean, they're contractors that I contract work out to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they're building in the shop with me
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So it's one of those that when somebody comes in and contacts us on Facebook, right? They have some of them have access to Facebook to actually respond right back. So that's the other thing too. I don't have time to check Facebook messages,
Yep.
Instagram messages, all myself. I do Etsy messages, all those eBay messages. That's a lot of time. We all have it on our phones. We kind of have a 24-hour open shop to the point of when I'm sleeping, somebody else is also trying to respond to stuff. Because we try really hard to, one, get back to people pretty quickly, because that's important, customer service in general.
Yeah.
But then two, people are way more likely to actually buy stuff from you when you respond quickly, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just think about when you're buying something. If I email somebody and say, hey, can you make this mask? And then 3 weeks later, you get something saying, yeah, I could probably make that mask. You already passed it, right? You don't care about the mask
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, usually if I get a message through my page asking me, rather, are you able to make something, or how much does this cost? I usually try to get back with them within like a 10-minute frame.
And in any good business owner would be able would try and would try and get a whole to cater to the customer's needs as quickly as possible, so they can be happy with the finished product.
Right. Well, there's also that whole triangle of quality versus like cost versus time.
Yeah.
Right. So and so you got to get into that too. So if somebody says, "Hey, I want this full suit of armor. I want it to look movie quality. Here are all my specs, and yeah, by the way, I want it next week." Then I try really hard not to just laugh, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not possible.
Yeah, there's that too.
Right, laugh or cry or whatever. But actually setting the expectations to customers is incredibly important. Also, the other thing too is, I say we try to respond back as quickly as we can. There are definitely times when we're all at conventions or random other stuff that we don't get back for a few days. We don't get back. I mean, especially now that we've got some stuff rolling, sure, but 2 years ago when we were doing this, it would take a week to come back to somebody sometimes. A lot of times it's nice to have that whole, we've received, you can do the automated one. I don't like to do the automated one.
Yeah.
But we've received this. That's cool. Here, can you answer some questions for me real quick? Because a lot of times I have initial questions that we have written down for when somebody comes in and says, hey, I need this new prop, or I need a thing that's going on. But, I mean, having the team of people, the specialists in the team is incredibly important. I don't know about anyone else, but I really don't have time to know how to do everything.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm running on the team, right?
Yeah. It's usually good to have one person designated to answering the questions if need be. So there's some people who have a small team of builders and they got one person designated to answering emails and doing billing and stuff like that. And you have the one person who does the bills and the other person does the shipping and all that other stuff. But I do a lot of the billing, but we actually spread that around more, I guess. Especially, like I said, I mean, when I'm sleeping and hanging out with my kids, that sort of thing, I need someone to be able to respond. And last thing I want to do is be on my phone constantly when I'm hanging out with my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not going to say I'm not checking it sometimes when I'm with my kids. Part of when I had really small kids and I was up late at night rocking them to sleep, that's a lot of when I got to know people on Facebook. That's a lot of where I had that downtime. Now, not so much. They're a little older, so I want to pay a lot more attention to them. So it's nice to have. It's just nice to have the team of people checking everything.
Yeah, completely understand not getting any sleep when you're a new parent. I've definitely gone through that, and luckily, just recently, it just ended.
Yeah, it's tough being a parent, being a business owner, and honestly, if you're a prop builder and you're building stuff for yourself, you may not be a business owner. You may still be a business owner. If you're trying to do, get out there on social media, and that's the other thing too. I mean, let me segue a little bit here. It doesn't matter really what you're making or what you're trying to do. It's still a ton of work. If you are a cosplayer that wants to really just spam the internet with as much of the stuff that you're trying to do, that's a lot of work, right? You need to get your name out there. That's everybody who's done that successfully has worked so hard, and it's every time that I'm, on social media, or anytime that I'm on Instagram, and I scroll down through and I see somebody who basically has a whole bunch of followers and everything like that. I most certainly respect that in the fact that they have put in the time. They've put in a lot of effort on that. There's a lot of people who will actually come back and say, oh, that's because of this reason or that reason. That's a bunch of bullshit. Honestly, they have worked their ass off to get there. Yeah. Some people get lucky. I got lucky with Matchbox, right? I got lucky with lots of other stuff. Some people do get lucky on some of their fame or fortune or whatever the hell you want to call it. But everybody worked. And everybody's putting in a lot of that actual time, even posting things. There's a lot of science and stuff that a lot of these people put in to their hashtags and all this other stuff they're doing. And we're doing that too. And we're trying, and honestly, that's one of those things that I'm not, that myself, I'm not very good at, and that's one of those things I'm always looking for people who have that social media talent and actual website development talent. and a lot of it's I can't do that while also building, while also supervising, while also being a dad. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to it, especially being a business owner, being a parent, and trying to organize both lives and finding that happy medium.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't go to every con in the nation, right? I mean, I try to go to a lot of cons, and I probably go to about 12 to 16 cons a year, but a lot of them are all in the Midwest because I don't have, one, the money or the time to travel all over, which I wish I did, right? And even as a full-time, I mean, people are like, hey, you're doing this full-time, why are you not out at San Diego Comic-Con every year? Well,
it's a lot of money.
Well, and actually you can do a lot of stuff very affordably. Find a friend to stay with.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of that. So, I mean, I might go out there, but it's a lot of just picking your battles. That weekend I might have another appearance that I'm going to make, and I do cosplay appearances too, right? So people might pay me to, I've done like graduation parties in costume. I've done other parties in costume. If somebody's paying me to do that, it's during a major con weekend, I might have to take the money instead of the major con, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some that, like C2E2 and Dragon Con, that I don't ever intend to miss. If I ever do miss those, it's because of some major family emergency. That's how that goes.
I plan to hit Dragon Con at least once before I die.
I plan on going this year, actually.
I have a very serious warning for you about Dragon Con.
All right.
When you go, you are stuck, and you're always going to want to go back, right? So it's not. So what I always warn people, and it's a good thing, right? But it's one of those, like, if you go to Dragon Con, you're not gonna be like, oh, I'll just go to Dragon Con this year, and then just not next year.
Okay.
Right? Like you're
gonna want to go back.
Memorial Day week. I think it's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's literally always gonna be Dragon Con here for the rest of your life, probably. Depends on who you are. Obviously, some people will disagree with me on that, but I love it. I mean, it's one of those that this last year I organized a bus, and we had a 50 passenger bus go down from Chicagoland area, and we ended up having, I think it was like 34 people with us, and we were jam packed with all of our costumes and everything. And actually, it was more than that. It was 44 people. We were jam packed and made it, but I don't see a reason why you would miss Dragon Con, right? Like, it's a long drive. Some people fly. Some people want to bring a bunch of costumes like we do.
Yeah.
Then you have to get the trailer and the van and the truck and all that stuff, but it's worth it.
I was jokingly telling Seth before he left earlier that while you guys were on your way down this year, I'd just stand off 65 with my thumb out. You guys can pick me up and we can all head down.
Yeah, well, actually, we do. We stopped at we didn't stop in Indy this year, but we stopped at Louisville. We stopped in Louisville and picked up a couple of people.
Okay.
But it's quite the trek, and I'm not sure if we're going to do the bus again or not, but we'll see. I mean, that's the other thing. With all this craziness that's going on, I mean, I can't do all that organization. A lot of that comes from other people.
Yeah.
But there's literally what's happening next weekend, what's happening this week, what's happening 2 weeks from now, and that's really what my eyes are on.
Yeah.
Right? And like, Dragon Con, C2E2, major ones, they're up there, and I'm trying to plan for them as much as I can, but I don't know. I know this is also supposed to be about prop building, so I'm sorry I totally digressed.
Don't worry about it. This is exactly what...
It's my thoughts was doing the podcast is, one, getting to know makers of all kinds, because that's not just, this is a prop maker podcast. No, this is a podcast where I plan to talk to any type of maker about anything. So right now you're a prop maker, costume builder, and you're talking about your business and your plans and this and that. I'm not really worried about any kind of set. Like, we're gonna go to this segment, then this segment, and this segment, and we'll get to those. But in between the talking, just the general or genuine conversation is a big part of it. So if you're worried about rambling, I would not worry about that at all, because this thing can go for an hour, this thing can go for 4 hours. As long as I'm having fun and we're having a good time, it's all
you
good.
got the time to do it.
Yeah, I get in trouble all the time because I talk way too much and ramble, and then I'm late to things. And as anybody that knows me will tell you, that I'm pretty much consistently late. I think it's because
just plan for it, essentially.
Kind of that, and also, I think it's just because I'm overly optimistic. I'm like, oh yeah, well, we can totally do that podcast, and I can also go pick up dinner, and I can also do this other stuff. And
Yeah, because you just did a workshop in your space here at the Makerspace for molding.
Oh yeah, we just did a molding and casting, like how-to workshop. The nice thing about the makerspace that we have here is we have enough room that we can, invite people in. This one was a paid workshop, but a lot of times we do free workshops. But this one was a mold making workshop, so I had one of the guys that does a lot of mold making for me come in, and he did a lot of talking. I did a lot of talking. He was able to answer questions that I don't know about because, quite honestly, I'm not that molding expert. I've done molding before, and I understand how it works. And I like pouring molds, and I like making things, and I like pouring a mold, and I don't know, 10 minutes later, all of a sudden, boom, there it is. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Depends on the mold, but I mean, one part molds, they're fun to just like manufacture like crazy.
Yeah, they're
But
one and done.
If you're spin casting or you're like roto casting or slush casting, I think it takes longer, but those are fun. That being said, again, what I said before, I know as much as I can about these things, but I'm no expert at 3D printing, and I'm no expert at molding. And the nice thing is I have people that are, so they come in and they can do this. So we just ran this molding workshop, and luckily we had a lot of people come in. A lot of people were interested. Most of them, actually, I'm pretty sure everyone there. There's one girl there that was interested in cosplay stuff. Everyone there was interested in either doing it for art stuff or making it in some other aspect.
Yeah, there's a older gentleman in there was asking me if it would be good for casting concrete.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I didn't know the answer, but it's like, well, with Smooth On, this is they have such a wide variety of silicones they use for all kinds of different things. I was like, probably go to smoothon.com and check them out. I'm pretty sure they have what you need.
Oh yeah, it's urethane, and it's they're actually doing. The reason I know this right off the top of my head is we just looked it up, and because he asked the same question after you left. And yeah, Smooth On is actually doing a whole bunch of stuff this month, I think, on how to do concrete casting, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it gets down to if you want to make a concrete gargoyle, well, how do you think those are made, right?
Yeah.
Like, somebody doesn't sculpt it every time when there's 7 gargoyles on a building or something, right?
No.
That's all casted. Maybe they do, and that's awesome. They're all hand sculpted and different, but a lot of times concrete casting is most certainly a thing, and it's profitable too.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we can give back to the community. A lot of what we do here at Matchbox is we want to be that like central hub in just Lafayette and also in Indiana, like everybody around, for just being that maker hub. So we had an artist in there, and she's very interested in doing some casting and molding to the point of she does like 3-dimensional paintings. So she'll take a board and then cut holes in it and like scar into the board, and then all those different things are parts that she paints. Well, if she makes some casts and makes like a guitar or a rose or literally anything that she's painting, she can make that and like glue that on there, and then all of a sudden it's more 3-dimension, right? So that's what she was interested in, and the other guys are interested in concrete. And there's a lot of the cool thing about that is like the concrete guys. I talked to them, and they're used to pouring what is it, like clear resin? I can't think of it right now. It's basically fluorine that you cover cover flooring with light resin.
Yeah,
well,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
all of a sudden I just was like, hey, here's this, here's my name, let's talk. And now if I ever need some of that, instead of trying to go find it, I just talk to him and say, hey, do you have any extra? You're in around town.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So again, it's a lot of networking.
Yeah. Especially a good thing about a makerspace like this, because this place is phenomenal. I'm actually super jealous of the shop you got, and looking around. There's a slide, there's a bar, there's a bunch of rooms with some stuff. This place is really cool, and
It's definitely a lot cleaner than my shop.
yeah,
I'll say
way cleaner in my shop. But
It's a lot cleaner than all of our other shops. This, I mean, as a lab manager, I am supposed to keep it clean. I
Face
need to keep it
value,
clean.
essentially.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, this is by all means, not something that I run on my own. I mean, literally, this has been something that's Matchbox Co-working Studio is something that was founded years before I even became a member. It's a great place. There's a lot of people who put a lot of effort and a lot of really good things into here. We have Matchbox itself has a lot of sponsors. It's sponsored by, I think we're in the Caterpillar room right now, right? So part of the lab, and even is that if somebody from Caterpillar wants to come by here and use the lab because they are used to being at Caterpillar and they're used to doing 3D printing there, but they can't use their industrial 3D printers to work on their cool robot that they're making. Well, then they can come by here, and since they have a sponsorship, they can use the lab, or we can talk to them and do that. And it doesn't have to just be maker stuff. And the reason this building is here is it's kind of a community center, kind of a hub of entrepreneurship, business owners, everything else like that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, at the beginning, I got lucky just finding the lab, finding a makerspace like this. But it's also something that you can't expect as a costume prop maker to have access to something like this most of the time. But you should look around your area. Hey, people out there listening, there's a lot of maker spaces. I know Tech Lab, or I think Tech. It's Tech something. They actually just closed their doors all over the nation. That was like a really sad thing. They did a membership deal. I know a lot of people were using that. But there's a lot of maker spaces, and not just maker spaces, co-working spaces. If you don't want to have an office, co-working is great, right? So like say you guys, wherever you're building, if you're building, you mentioned that you have like a garage/pull barn that you have. That's awesome. I wish I had a pull barn to get like crazy and do a whole bunch of welding and things like that. What you could do is you could join a makerspace, not a makerspace, but a co-working studio or a co-working place, have an office building or have a place to meet people, and that works really well for you, right? So like, when you're making things out in your pull barn, you're not trying to turn around and have a customer sit there and say, hey, I'm here to ask you a question or something. No, you set your meeting up at the co-working studio, and then you can go that way.
Yeah, we're based out of Indy. I think there's like 2 or 3 maker spaces around town that are membership spaces, but I find a lot of them are like cramped up with millions of things that ever people are working on. And cool thing about this place seems pretty wide. It's pretty spread out. It's pretty well organized.
Were you talking about the maker lab that we have back there?
Or just the space in general.
This was more like an office space.
Yeah, because you got your maker lab, and you got offices, and looked like you got like a computer area. Then you have like an upstairs, which I haven't checked out yet. But having places like this is one, good for networking, good for the community in general, and I'm glad to be able to come up here and spend a couple hours checking this place out, because this
has been a blast.
We've just been checking it out, standing around, doing your workshop, and doing the podcast. This is pretty good. It's worth time for my day.
It's a great place. I mean, this co-working studio has been great to a lot of people. I've loved it. I love being down here. It's been everything from like a clubhouse to a very serious working place. The other cool thing about it is, on certain nights of the week, we come down here as a team, like all Wulfgar weapons, and we'll play Dungeons and Dragons. And sitting here in this very room we're in right now, instead of talking on here, or instead of the people right before us that did yoga, and the people right before them who had a lawyer business meeting. Well, then now we're in here playing Dungeons and Dragons for a while, and I mean that's team building to me.
That's awesome.
Quite honestly, and I'm
that
very
is
serious.
Team building.
I'm very serious that when you guys come in the shop, I'm like, hey, come play D&D with us, and I'm not so much judging them on how they play D&D. It's just you get to be more friends, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's not as professional.
Well, it's not as professional, especially in a shop where you're sitting there joking around and talking about things. And when you're building something, you can be like, you know what, I really like my character in D&D, and I'm hoping to do this and this and this. And if the person sitting next to you has no care or anything else about that, they could give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
If they're in the game with you, you can plot not against the DM, but you can plot against well, use this spell, and I'll use this spell, it'll be awesome. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there nerding out while painting props up. And,
that's the dream.
That. It's fun.
That's the dream.
Because go back, because you mentioned you go to conventions, you plan for an X amount a year, have you noticed that since you've been going to more cons, that people come up to you who recognize you from either Facebook or Instagram or something like that, just come up to you like, hey, I saw that on Instagram, or I saw that on Facebook in a group, somebody posted it.
Oh yeah, a lot of times we'll be posting stuff that we've been working on.
Yeah.
You know, you see this with a lot of the prop builders. They'll post, oh, this is my, major gun that I'm building from this thing and for this person. And if that person isn't even there at the convention, they'll still come up and tell you about it. But a lot of times that person will still be there at the convention. Like, we build a lot of things for people at C2E2.
Yeah.
Not only stuff that we actually rock and wear as a shop, but also stuff that people are using. I mean, I just sold a Red Hood loadout to a guy that's really excited about C2E2, and he literally sent me pictures of it. We just got it to him, and this is what, November, right? So he's planning that far out. But come C2E2, I'm going to be looking for him, right? Like, yeah, like let's go. Like, I want to see it in person. That's awesome. And I mean, I really like that about being a prop maker. The fact that you can go see the customers and talk to them afterward and see them in full costume in person. I know that's something that Dragon Con's great for, because there's basically a lot of prop builders. We all get together and just one talk shop, and then you can see a lot of people who've all year bought stuff for you, and then they all end up at Dragon Con, right? So you can walk around, and especially Indiana Comic Con and PopCon, there's at least a few things that we've made pretty much almost every day that I can walk around and be like, hey, how's it going? Oh, you liking that prop? That sort of thing. Or every once in a while, it's just neat. They're having fun. They're having a blast. I just walk by them because I'm in the middle of going someplace, or I've already talked to them or something. But I'm sitting there seeing people, looking at the rocket launcher that we made them, and they're excited about it. And that's awesome. One of my favorite things, kind of a little segue, that we were doing the Project Cause Awesome thing. And my friend John Quaid, who works for us and is a major problem. Not problem. Wow. Freudian not slip. He's a major problem, but also he's actually, he's a really great guy, and he works with us real well. But he was at Project Cause Awesome with me, and we were doing a Borderlands group, and we were all sitting around a table. We were doing a Borderlands like poker table, right? And he's sitting there, and he has a Mordecai costume on. Mordecai's the guy that has the hawk, right, and the sniper. So we're all sitting there, and I'm across the table from him, and the girl next to him, Sahara, looks over at him and goes, you know what, I really like that costume. My favorite part is that shoulder piece. And literally that shoulder piece was the one piece on his costume I'd made for him, right? So he just kind of like closes his eyes and does pretty much what you just did, which is, what the hell? Like, right? And I'm just sitting there like, yeah.
I'd be like, damn it, the only thing.
And also, that's the other thing too. Personally, if people, especially when people pay me to do things for them, to make costumes for them, I really don't care much if they want to take credit for it, or they want to repaint it, or they want to do things like that. I understand the credit is something that a lot of people care about, and we do care about. As a shop, we care about credit mainly because it's fun to be like, oh, hey, that suit of armor came up and somebody refers them to me, and that's great. That's how we get a lot of business. But honestly, I mean, this is my personal opinion, and it's probably not a very popular one either. You paid me to do the thing. If you're in a costume and you want to let people assume that you made it, or you are using a prop that we made, but you have a full costume that you made, or you modified our prop. By the way, by all means, modify our props. Absolutely. If I send you a shotgun and it doesn't quite match the rest of the weapons on that you have going, paint it, man. Do it. It's yours. You bought it. I'm not going to be offended by that. I'm just really not. I'm past that. I used to actually be like, oh, what the hell? Nobody credited me on it. For like 2 seconds, and I realized it's not fucking worth it. It's just not. Okay, and that's one of those things that I can either get in a flame war, I can either get on the internet and be like, I can't believe this person didn't credit me, rah, or I can shut the fuck up, be like, that sucks, and literally spend that 3 hours I was spending on doing that credit thing, building another prop, making more money, being happy, having somebody else that's going to be happy and go out there and tell me about something. So there is, again, it totally is probably not the opinion that most people probably right now commenting on this, being like, "What the, James, shut the fuck up! Like, you're dumb. You're really like hurting, you know." And I don't mean to hurt the prop community at all. And by all means, if you care about the person that you've bought your prop from, or your commission from, or your full suit of armor, or your whatever, definitely credit them. But also, as a cosplayer on the other side of the fence, I most certainly buy things from people, and I do credit them from time to time. However, every time any picture is posted of that one costume, I don't always credit, right? Like, I want to, I try to, but when there's 60 pictures posted,
who's got that time?
I don't have that time. And again, so a lot of it is you try your best, but also I try not to get real crazy offended if somebody doesn't credit us. It is something we notice, right? So it's not something that, I mean, maybe you don't get the return customer, hey, I really like you working with me, and you've got a whole bunch of other people who've come to us saying that they saw your armor. Well, maybe you don't get that kind of like, I'll cut you a deal thing, because that's you know, we do that, right? Most certainly, if somebody comes in and they're a return customer, I got a list of return customers. One, that's how you make money, right? Because quite honestly, if I could just get 60 or 70 return customers, I'd be done, right? Like, okay, it's cool. Well, we're building for this person and this person and this person and this person. And there's a lot of people who, you know, will come to us and they'll say, yeah, you're the prop builder I go to. And a lot of times, the nice thing about that is if they come to me with something that I don't want to build or we can't build or whatever, most stuff I like to say we can build almost everything, but there's most certainly things that we're not as well equipped to build. I have no problem sending them to someone else, but the nice thing is they know that I'm going to send them to somebody I trust, right? Again, networking, right? And then that person I send them to will come back to me and with something that they have a weapon or whatever. And we also do try to specialize in weapons. We make armor, we make everything. Literally, we make stuff for weddings and all kinds of random stuff. But the whole, what our bread and butter is, and what you're going to get like on our Etsy shop and on our eBay shop and on our website are a lot of weapons, right? But we do custom armor and all that as well.
Hence weapons and props.
Yeah, well, I don't usually when I see, because I've seen it where people have like you said, either don't get credit or do get credit. But most of the time when I see somebody, if like they bought something, they usually post, I ordered this thing from this person and I painted it this. Because most of the time when somebody's ordering something, they either order something that's completed or they order a blank kit, paint it up, or they get a costume and they just wear it and they say, I got it from this person. Because because I did a repaint of an ex-Kozer Black Panther helmet for my friend.
Sure.
He ordered it from ex-Kozer. They got a variety of different stuff that you can order from them, but he brought it to me. He's like, can you paint this for me? Because he wanted to turn the Black Panther into a Pink Panther. Right. Yeah, and when he got done, he gave me the credit, then he said who made it or where he got it from. Mm-hmm. But then I see other things like I've noticed it's not really something you get into. But if you see something that somebody made that you know who made it, then you see somebody said I made this, but you know that this other person made it, and you come across that.
I'll talk on that.
So we don't.
Literally, I judge costume contests a decent amount at conventions. Mm-hmm. So not only am I a prop maker, but I also am a cosplayer, so it's a decent choice to have me as a judge for costume contests. Mm-hmm. At least I think so. Hey, but and one of the things I like to do is go there and try to judge as fairly as possible. But yeah, I mean, most certainly have had people be like, "Oh, this suit of armor," like they'll talk to the judges, they'll come up to us and be like, well, "I made this entire suit of armor, rah rah." I'm like, what? It's funny because I'm friends with the person who made that, and I saw them posting pictures of like the progress on it. That doesn't happen often. I think that's happened 2 times out of all the time. And honestly, it's that I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. Okay, mm-hmm. So like if you do that, yeah, that's wrong. Don't do that. Yeah. Most certainly, let me repeat myself. Do not do that. However, if you did that because I mean, I don't know, you can come up with excuses, but somebody comes in, they're real nervous, and they're wanting to impress the judges, and they don't, okay, cool, you messed up, admit you messed up, this goes along with everything, okay, you go in, you admit you messed up, when I mess up, absolutely, there's going to be things.
I can
that
search the web for you.
my Google on my phone wants me to admit to it that I messed up. She wants me to search the web. So yeah, this is why I usually shut my phone off.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
But,
It's random.
sorry about that interruption, Google. But yeah, like, so I'll be sitting there and somebody will do that, and the first thing that a lot of people do is like basically want to write that person completely off. They're probably new. They probably just don't quite understand exactly what they just did. Give people the benefit of the doubt, and this goes along with everything.
Yeah.
Please, like, and I mean, there's been a lot of people, and what's funny because some people have told me literally my entire business has based around second chances, right? Like, so a lot of my people have fucked up. I have fucked up. We're all human. That's a thing. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna say, "Hey, this is a thing I made" or something, and you're gonna instantly feel bad about it. But hey, guess what? That's something you said. Mm-hmm. Again, and just admit to it, and just be like, "Oh yeah, that's a messed up thing," and I'm not gonna write you off for it. Now, next time, if I see somebody habitually doing that, that's not. And there are people that do that, and quite honestly, there's people who get angry about all kinds of stuff. There's people that get angry about some of the things that we as a company do. Like I said, with the Project Cause Awesome, having it invite only. People hear it's invite only. Raw, I'm angry. Rah, or I didn't get invited this year. Well, you probably didn't get invited because people had problems with you or something like that. Maybe not, actually. A lot of times I just miss the fucking invite. I really do. And a lot of it, I'm trying to do it myself. I would say, we probably have a couple people who aren't invited back one year, but then again, they're invited back the year afterward. Because people change too.
Yeah. Right?
Most certainly. I mean, if you judge me on what I did when I was 18 about like the kind of dumb shit that I was saying, as opposed to now that I'm 36, and I'm 36, which is actually pretty old for the cosplay community, but not old like enough to stop dressing in costume. Not that it's ever an actual thing.
Why stop being a kid?
Oh, dude, never.
I mean, that's the best part about it.
I'm so happy my wife cosplays because, I mean, I expect to be like cool. I do Cable actually. So Cable was an older character. He has gray hair. Well, right now I actually put gray in my hair. Hopefully, when I'm like 60, 70, or whenever I get gray hair, 50, I'm not sure when it happens. I am getting some gray hair. I'll be Cable and just be Cable. The same.
Yeah, I got a friend who started getting gray hair when he was in high school.
Oh yeah, and that happens.
It just happens.
And that's part of why. I mean, that gets to that whole appearance thing. I know it's the prop building panel, but like literally, you can change the color of your hair. You can do that if you want to, or you can just not. Right? You can.
It's depending on if your costume like requires like for one doing Cable's got white hair.
Right.
Kind of gonna have to do that, but if you're like saying you're like just doing like a regular like a costume from Skyrim or Fallout or Mass Effect or whatever, really. But like just make a costume, and you're if you need to like your face doesn't really matter if you just want to present your costume.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what your haircut is if you have a really awesome helmet on.
Yeah, unless you got a giant helmet that covers your face, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, well, actually, one of the things that going along that is I like to personalize my stuff. So like I have a Mandalorian that I wear.
Mm-hmm.
That I color my hair and put white in it, kind of like Cable. A lot of times I don't put as much white in it, but you'll see that I put actually some like gray stuff in it, and I look older because I feel like the character that I've completely made up, is just a random Mandalorian with fur on him, because wolf fur is a thing, and that's something I tend to do since I'm Wulfgar. And I mean, I call the character like the Wulfgar Mando Wulfgar, whatever.
Yeah.
I have fun. I love that costume. I have tons of fun. It's supposed to be a costume in which you have a Mandalorian helmet on. I am not part of the group, the Mandalorian Mercs, who are awesome, by the way. I love those guys.
Yeah, I saw them
lots of different things.
The last con I went to.
But there's no requirements for me to wear my helmet, and I'll sometimes carry it with me. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes people will be like, "Man, are you from Destiny or something like that?" That's fine. I don't care. I'm glad you like my costume. That's the other thing.
That's all that matters, really.
But yeah, I mean, you can not color your hair. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Basically, long story short, you can do what you want.
Yeah, shave your head, wear a wig, whatever.
Seriously,
Grow a
have
big
fun.
old bushy beard.
If you can.
If you can. Yeah,
Right.
Because I mentioned this in the last episode, and one of the costumes that I've been working on, because I've actually be on my third version, is the NCR Veteran Ranger from Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm working on the second version of the helmet right now.
Did you come by and talk to us at Indiana Comic Con like 2 years ago?
Probably.
Was that you? Because I think you had that on.
Probably.
Yeah. I remember people way more by their costume
Yeah,
than
I
by their actual.
You
face.
tend to if you hang out with cosplayers a lot.
Well, when you're meeting them in costume.
Yeah.
that's the thing.
yeah, because I think me and my wife were there 2 years ago, I think. But yeah, I had my NCR Ranger gear on. That's the costume itself was on its second iteration, and now that I'm in the planning stages of my third iteration of instead of using all foam like for the armor and just doing it all out of leather because it seems like I could probably get a better result out of it and it won't be so heavy.
Sure.
But
I mean, foam there's a lot of really, really awesome qualities about foam.
oh yeah,
But there's a lot of really awesome qualities about leather too. So it's what
I
everyone did.
just reorganized my display at my house for my props where I put up some slab board with some racks and I got all my foam helmets hanging up on the wall.
Sure.
I meant to bring it today because I like doing this to people. I made a giant World of Warcraft Doom hammer.
Mm-hmm.
It's all out of foam. It's got a PVC core in it for the handle, and it's just slightly too heavy. Like you can pick it up like, oh crap, this is heavy. Because like friends have come over, I finished it. I was like, I go to hand it to. I was like, hey, check this out. You know, it's a foam prop I just got done doing, and it weighs a lot, surprisingly. And I as they go to pick it up, I drop it, so they have to catch it. It's just like, oh my god, it's like this thing's heavy. You know, I got that hanging up. But you know, I've been watching people like Evil Ted and Bill Duran make stuff out of foam, which made me make stuff out of foam. And I've been working with it for a while, and it seems like it's really cool for weapons wise. But when it comes to the armor pieces, unless it's like a helmet or something, I've been trying to look into different ways of creating the armor. So thinking like using like leather for more slender costumes would be a better choice on my end, instead of walking around with a giant foam chest piece sweating for 4 hours, and when I take my shirt off I'm soaked.
All right, man. No, I gotta say, as somebody who's done both, I'm not saying that you haven't either, actually. Sorry, but leather is way worse to carry around and wear. If you're worried about sweating, having a leather chest piece on or like actual leather, that's way heavier and way worse than foam. In my past experience, anyway.
Yeah.
Like we have the full Space Wolf armor. That's,
I remember those. Those were awesome.
it's got foam. I typically make my armor out of foam mainly because you can dig it up and all the battle damage stuff.
Yeah.
You can use Warblade, you can use all kinds of stuff, but foam speaks to me more than other things. Yeah, I mean, most of my stuff is very cool as far as the foam part of it. What makes it hot is the leather or like I said earlier, I add fur to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll put fur around my neck or something and have that going. I mean, it's great for when it's cold.
Yeah.
And we took the Space Wolves because they're in fur and I mean, they're in a cold environment. Normally we took those out and did a photo shoot out in the snow. And the real snow. I don't recommend that. Actually, you can Photoshop snow in, right?
So
Who actually knew you can Photoshop snow in? And yeah, we took it out. We run around in the snow. I actually biffed. There's a video of me out there somewhere, which is fantastic, of me like full force running and then just falling flat on my face.
Oh no!
In my armor. The fun part about it is my armor withstood it, right? Like I was like, all right, well, nothing better than testing this armor to see if you can literally go full force diving in the snow.
We'll have to find that and put that in the show notes for everybody to see.
That's there, and then I mean, there's a photo shoot that we did that at the same time we were out in the cold, and it probably would have been good to do if the snow was on the ground, but it really wasn't that cold out, right? Yeah. Like it was 30 degrees or 28 degrees or something, but it was cold, and it was also getting on nighttime, and the video of me falling on my face is actually like right at dusk / there's not much light. Which is sad because I would love to have like that slow motion back and forth, boom, boom, like make that shit into a GIF. But basically, we didn't need to go out and freeze our ass off, and then also it was detrimental to the shop because then everybody's like sick or hurt.
Yeah.
That's something else too. As a businessman, I'm like, we shouldn't do that because it's going to take way too much time as a cosplayer and as somebody who's wanting to have fun. I'm like, we should definitely do that, and it's going to spend a lot of our time. And then a lot of times we'll set something up. We'll do like a game night, and we'll do like some other stuff. And then I'm like, crap, we've ruined our shop hours for this week. We got to make it up. And then, of course, there's other emergencies that happen and everything. So it's definitely that work-play balance that you got to do.
Yeah. Well, playing in the snow and armor. It sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. And it was fun. It was a good experience. It's something I probably will do again, right? Like if there's snow on the ground, for sure. But
I mean, Seth's doing a cosplay that I'm building.
Yeah.
I'm building Kuma from Afro Samurai.
yeah.
And he's actually suggested that we do a snowfall photo shoot.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
I'm really pumped for it. And I mean, I told him I'll have boots on standby. I'll have pants on standby. I will have everything you need. I will carry you back to the car if need be.
Right.
This will be awesome, though. And he's like, heck yeah.
Just gonna be cold for a minute. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, and he was one of the people who was out there in Space Wolf with me. I
Yeah.
actually think it was one of his ideas. I think we always talked about doing the Space Wolf snow shoot, but like when it happened, he was the one that was like, "All right, guys, it's snowing. Let's do this." Right? And it was good. I'm glad we did it. And like I said, I'll go out again in the snow, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
And again, sorry, this is not prop actual building. Do we want to talk about actually like how we put glue on foam and how like things go together? And
I mean, I used to work in film, so I
Drilling
am
stuff?
down.
Well,
I'm just saying, like this. I guess this is the origin of the Maker podcast. So this is how things got started. So
yeah, I guess we can do a really crappy segue into how you became a maker.
How did you start?
How did you? Yeah, what? Like as far as what was your initial push into wanting to create to basically start creating
I mean,
things?
it's fun, right? You gotta
Yeah.
admit, right. It's fun.
It's the shit.
I would say that I didn't know it was going to be so much work.
Yeah,
You never do.
So here's the thing. Like, the way I got into it was I really liked Halloween, and then I was in college and literally said, "Hey, let's throw a superhero party, right? Let's throw a party because college parties are fun. I like throwing college parties. I enjoy meeting people and going to parties. However, a lot of what I found is when you have a party, if it doesn't have a theme or actually something else to do, there's a lot of dumb shit that goes on. People get bored.
Yeah.
So I like costume parties.
why
And
alcohol
hey,
is
I'm also a
involved.
costume person now, so I just happen to like costumes. So I was like, I'm just going to make an excuse and have a superhero party. Well, we had one. I made sure to plan it out. I don't even know if this was on purpose or what, but we did it in September, which happened to be right when all the Halloween stores were open. So people were able to like just go to the store and buy a store-bought costume and get drunk in the flash, which was fun, but it ended up being an annual thing, right? So then about the third one, my friends and I made Gears of War costumes, and I mean, we didn't know what like floor mat foam was. However, and this is super fun to me, and I understand probably most people don't give a shit, but we went out and pieced together these Gears of War costumes, and I used a whole ton of stuff that prop makers were using at the time and that we use now, but we had no idea. Like, it took us forever to go out and, like, I went to Big Lots, and I found some floor mat foam. Well, guess what? I had no idea that other people were using that. I'm like, this probably would be really cool for the front of the thing. I didn't use a heat gun on it. I didn't know to use a heat gun on it. We glued it together. We literally had it. We built the armor off of football pads. So we went to literally Dick's Sporting Goods, got football pads, ripped some of the pads off, but basically gave us the bulk.
Yeah.
Took a Big Lots mat that was for the passenger side and driver side of your car, like your feet mat.
Yeah.
It looked cool. It was rubber, and it looked cool. It had all the like neat stuff on it. So we literally took the football pads, and this is mainly all my idea. The other guys went along with it, and they were awesome. They definitely helped. Football pads. Then we put the PVC pipe like right behind our heads, like on the back of our shoulders, and literally then wrapped that floor mat around that PVC pipe, and then down our back. and literally riveted it into place, like used actual rivets, pop rivets.
Yeah.
And because we tried to glue it, we didn't know anything about glues, we didn't know about zip ties at the time. Son of a bitch. By the way, we've had a conversation, and I've not mentioned zip ties are the best damn thing ever. I'm sorry, but it's the best thing ever, zip ties. I carry a pocket full of zip ties with me now, like on my daily.
You have zip ties with you right now.
I don't actually have. They're in the lab, so I can literally.
I mean, they're in the building, so that counts.
They're within reach. But I have them in my truck. I love zip ties for all kinds of reasons. I carry them all the time. But I didn't know about zip ties at this time, right? And also, if you ever see me at a convention and you need a zip tie, come up to me. I can probably have a zip tie on me, or I at least can point you in a direction where it is. I literally do roll around.
All right, that is noted.
Yeah, note that, because and you can fix a lot on the fly with this.
Yeah.
That rhymed. Even boom.
Yeah, if you can't find the walking cosplay repair person, find Wulfgar. He'll give you a zip tie.
Or come by our booth, and we always have a nice cosplay repair. And that's, man, I am segueing from the first costume, or one of the first costumes of my A to this one. But one of the highlights of like my convention normally isn't the costume contest or that. It's fixing somebody's costume that came by, and they're like, "Oh my God, my costume's falling apart." And they put so much work into this, and then come by and. At least once a convention, I'm fixing somebody's costume, and we get that bond there. Like, hey man, here's how you do this, or hey lady, like this is totally like how I would do this, or here I can help you here, and they're grateful. I'm just happy because I've been there, right? And it's like paying it back. Okay, so going back to the story though about the whole football pads. So I got football pads on. I got a PVC pipe on my back. I got a rubber floor mat over my back, and literally that's like been screwed through the rubber floor mat with like big washers so they actually stay on. And I don't think we were that smart, right? We just glue it with like E6000 as much as possible, and it's literally everywhere. Hot glue's flying. And,
Oh no!
and it's just we're trying all these different ways of getting this rubber to stick to this thing and to the PVC, which now I would use like goop glue or super glue.
Yeah.
And it would probably stick. I mean, you test it, but also taking some screws through it and putting some big rubber washers on there, or not rubber, but just washers, or better yet, just zip tie the bitch. Right? Zip ties don't break. You don't. I can pull apart glue. I can't pull apart a zip tie. That's a thing. You can pull apart a zip tie, but not the big thick ones.
It's gonna hurt.
So, anyway, so we got this on there. For the front, we're like, well, how do we make this look like Gears of War? Right? All the arm pads and leg pads we used like motorcycle pads for. Mm-hmm. The gloves, like I had fingerless gloves, and then I actually just hand cut out pieces of plastic and made them look like in layers, kind of like the gloves on Gears of War.
Yeah.
But we wanted fingerless anyway, and so it was a lot of hot glue, a lot of craziness. Basically a beginner build, but fun, right? Totally fun. Yeah. But the front, we're like, how do we get this front to look like, to have those lines on it that Gears of War has? I randomly went to Big Lots while I was buying that stuff and tried to see what was around. Picked up a couple like floor mat foam things. This was years ago. This was 7 years ago? No, 8 years ago, because it was our third annual and we just had our 11th. And we didn't know. I hadn't even touched looking at YouTube. So, I mean, it would have been great if we had known we could form that, or actually do the whole, score it and then hit it with a heat gun and, hey, look, then you have some pattern, or then you have some texture. We cut the pieces off and, like, literally glued it to, like, a piece of, what we used is we glued a big piece to the front of the shoulder pads of foam, and then we cut the pieces like completely out, and then not pasted them, but hot glued them on. So it still had the texture, and then we, I remember stenciling. I got the Gears of War symbol. I went to the copy mat and had them print out the Gears of War symbol on a clear piece of like projector paper, for like overhead projectors. Yeah. So printed that out on there, and then I sat in my like living room with an X-Acto knife cutting that out. So then we had I had like a stencil that I could then spray paint. Right? Now I have a laser cutter. Now I would be like, oh, I'll just make that stencil with my laser cutter, like, I don't know, 5-10 minute job, boom, done. That did not take me 5 to 10 minutes. Also, it didn't look great, right? Like I'm hand cutting out with an X-Acto. It looked okay, right? It looked good. And then we did a couple different standards, a couple different stencils, right? And then I think we found out about clear coat, or we knew somewhat about clear coat after. Or actually, no, we went back years later, like 2 years later, and we're like, wow, that's still on there. We should probably clear coat that now that we know about clear coat, right? So we clear coat the front, and now they're still around. And actually, I sold one of those costumes to, I'm blanking his name right now. Oh, super nice guy. He's down in Atlanta, and we went to the Gears of War meetup, and it was there, right? He was there. He was rocking the same costume that I made, the one I'm talking about right now, and it still looks good, right?
Really?
To be fair, it like, you know, he's had to repaint it a couple times, and I had to repaint it a couple times too. And also, I made the biggest mistake. Well, not the biggest. No, biggest mistake, I don't know, but I made a mistake building those. I took a shortcut and used cheaper foam that was green. Don't do that. Holy shit. Please, can I please stress this enough? Do not use green foam when you're building something that's dark. Guess what? When you sweat and paint comes off of it, or you chip into it, or a part of it goes flying, it'll be green. Right? The inside of it is actually green. Underneath that paint, it's still green. So, I mean, at the time I didn't know, but now you can get this thing called charcoal foam. It's basically the floor mat foam that you see all the time. That's what color it is. Guess what? You cut into that, it's still charcoal. It's not green or fluorescent or white or anything like that. It's just green. So, I can't tell you how many times I've taken a zip tie and literally just taken my keys in my pocket, poked a hole in the foam, literally put a zip tie through it, and attached it to another poked hole in the other foam, and attached it in the middle of a convention because I just want something to stay up, and I'll fix it later. But if I had done that with foam that was not charcoal, it would have looked really funky. People would have seen it, right? People like it would have been way more of an eyesore. But otherwise, you can't even tell. It's a zip tie on there. Nobody's looking at it. Yeah. That's the other thing too. When you're going to a convention and you're rolling around in your full costume, people have about 6 seconds to really see you and look at whatever costume you're going. Like, there are most certainly people who come up and be like, "Oh man, how'd you make this?" And like, but when you're just walking by someone, they're making eye contact with you. They have they see your whole costume, that sort of thing. If you're like under your left shoulder is ripped, not a damn person cares or sees it or knows about it. Like, right, you do, and it's annoying to you. Yeah. But if you can zip tie it back on there or something and then fix it later, literally you can go about your convention. That's the other thing too. I always tell people, your costume, especially when you're new, your costume is going to go and it's going to break. Okay, you're going to wear it. You're going to sit down in it when you shouldn't have sat down in it because you wanted to sit down, and all of a sudden it rips or something like that. Just take the piece, give it to your handler, give it to a friend, take it back to your room or whatever. Continue on, right? Have fun with it. There's only a certain amount of time that you have in this world to actually have a costume on. Okay, so there's no reason for you to break down and be like, "Oh, I can't believe it's not working." Also, come to our booth. We'll zip tie back on there for you, or we'll glue it back on there for you. I have all that other stuff. The point of it is to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Not to sit there and be upset that the back of your costume is falling off. I mean, I've had my front chest plate just like falling down, completely like ripped off, and people will be like, "Can I get a picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Literally, I just kind of hold it up there with my fist, like, "Yeah, I'm doing this like salute thing." It's not on me at all, but it looks like it's on me for a picture. Cool. And then bye, and then my arm comes down, it flops down, and I go about my.
Yeah, I've had some glued straps pop off of some foam before.
It happens. That's what zip ties are there for, because you know what doesn't pop off?
Zip tie.
Zip ties.
Well, that was before I learned about barge too. So
I regrettably have never cosplayed yet. I've just built props. This year at ASIN, which is in May, is going to be my first time in cosplay.
Well,
he's still a virgin.
Yeah,
that's
cosplay.
Honestly, that's exciting. Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of virgin you're talking about. But like, it's exciting that you want to do that, right? And quite honestly, the fun part about it is when you build props and build costumes, a lot of the fun of it is wearing is building them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But another giant, awesome, fun time about it is wearing them, right? So when I build a prop hammer and I'm like, man, this looks cool. I can post pictures of it on the internet. Awesome, that's fun. But when I take it out and I get to pretend like I'm hitting people with it, and when people are walking by and there's a little kid that runs up to me, he's like, whoa! And I literally just take the hammer and be like, you want to hold it? And he picks it up and he's taking a picture with his mom and he's hitting his brother on the pictures and I'm not even in the picture. That's better, right? Like, maybe not better, but it's also really fun, right?
You're providing some small amount of enjoyment to that small child for holding this thing that he doesn't even. He's like, what is this thing? This is awesome.
Yeah, or the best is when people are like, man, you're kind of stupid, man. I'm here at this convention for like no reason. My daughter's here or something, and I'm just trying to make sure that she's okay. And then it's some dad, and then I roll up next to him and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, yeah, like how's it going? And he kind of gives me this like, you're a nerd because you're in a costume. And then I'm able to be like, hey, you want to hold this prop? And then he's like, yeah. And then basically I like trying to bridge that gap, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times being able to give somebody a cool prop that you're holding, or even rolling up in somebody in full armor, and especially like this happens with our Space Wolves. At Gen Con, we rolled up as we had a 7-man group at Gen Con of all Space Wolves, completely head to toe. And the people who were playing in the games, who were at Gen Con, who actually just cared about Warhammer, or people who cared about not even Warhammer, like just other board games, they still noticed and cared, right?
I was there when you guys rolled up in your Space Wolves cosplay, and all my buddies were like, dude, that is awesome. I mean, I knew who you were, I just didn't know you personally, so I didn't say anything, but we were playing games and stuff like that. But I was just like, guys, look at that. I don't know what it is, but look at it.
Right. And that's the point, right? So actually the mission statement of Cause Awesome Studios, not Wulfgar Weapons, but the mission statement of Cause Awesome Studios is to have fun and spread the awesomeness that is costume art. And I call it costume art because some people get upset about cosplay. Some people, when we can talk about cosplay and costumes and all that stuff all day long, but if you tell a movie studio that you're a cosplayer, sometimes they're like, well, I've had bad experiences with cosplayers. That's totally a thing.
Mm-hmm. But
then other people, maybe not so much. The point of it is to have fun and also to spread that, right? So like, it's awesome to be in costume, and you know what's good for everybody? I think Bill Duran's got a video on this, and I took it to heart a long time ago. There's plenty of room for everybody in this business. There's a reason that you guys are prop makers, and I'm not sitting here being like, hey, go the fuck away. I don't want to tell you any of my things. There's plenty of room. The more people get into it like you, the more you're going to tell people about it, and other people are going to see your props and your stuff and get interested and want to buy costume props. And by the way, that's how I make money. So yay, right?
Bill did say that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember that video like it was yesterday. I watched it.
And there's no reason to be chasing people out of conventions or out of professions or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people who deal with me on a business relationship style, and I say this all the time, they know that, and I'm very serious about this, I want it to be a win-win situation for both of us. Okay, I most certainly don't want to be used by you, and I 100% don't want you to feel used or me to just be using you, right? So, for example, what we're doing right here. Yeah, I'm giving you some of the time and some advice, I guess. Yeah. But you're putting my name out there more, right? It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you guys got to come up and do this. What I always try to do is, you have these win-win situations. That's why I very much like Cosplay Land. And I call it Cosplay Land because it's literally like this whole, it's the community, right?
Yeah.
They, for the most part, there's definitely drama, okay? There's tons of drama, and there's tons of people getting angry. But also, if you look at it too, the people who are trolling, the people who are getting angry in Cosplay Land are not actual people that get into the costumes. Yeah. Okay? They're literally stupid troll people who are behind their, I don't know what else to call them.
Heavy breathers behind their keyboards.
They're behind their keyboard, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, that character doesn't look that way, rah, 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 or you're too fat, or whatever. I don't know. They say random trollish things, and people get angry about it, And rightfully so, but really these people that are saying this, most of them are not somebody who's ever been in costume, who doesn't care about it that way, and for whatever reason they've just decided they're having a bad day, so they're gonna be a troll.
They're going to take their anger out on somebody in the world.
Or it's
But if you
just
look at
how
the
they
actual
get
community,
The actual community of prop makers, the ones that I've met, the ones that I've talked to, and people that I've communicated online through YouTube, Twitch.
man, it's nothing but love.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to, like, you're super fucking nice. I've met you offhand at a con. Maybe you gave me 5 minutes of your time because possibly asked about a costume, or anybody I've talked to. Everybody seems really genuinely nice, and they really genuinely will take time out of their day to talk to you about whatever it is you want to talk to. Because for those people who troll online, for people who give shit about cosplayers who do sexy cosplay, or cosplayers who don't look like what they're supposed to look like, because either the one, they aren't the body shape that that person thinks that person should be to be in that costume, or whatever. You know, if you get that person who's being a troll, just either one, they're having a bad day, or they're just that kind of person wants to be a troll. If you actually got them in a costume and threw them out into that land, and people started coming and talk to them about, wow, that costume's really cool, they probably get it offhand, like, well, I was being an asshole. Probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Most people just do that because it makes themselves feel better about themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. People tear people down to feel bad about themselves. It's a terrible human nature thing that some people do. A lot of people pass that. A lot of people in cosplay land, or cosplay community, I guess, are past that.
Yeah.
Right. And some of the photographers are very, very aware of that. And part of the problem with it is the photographer will be doing both. He'll be doing a professional cosplay photographer, but then also he'll do professional photos. Well, people who see his professional photos will then come by and see his cosplay pictures, and then they're over there commenting and rah rah. And I mean, that's not helpful for anyone, because honestly, they're not even in the community. And when people say that the cosplay community is mean and full of drama and other stuff, some of that's true, sure. A lot of it also, okay, I won't say there, but a lot of it isn't, right? Like, most of the community themselves are actually understanding people. The other thing you got to realize is a lot of the things in the community, a lot of the people in the cosplay community and maker community and all that, one, the more you do it, the more you get into this, the busier you are. So if I go up and talk to, Bill Duran, I've seen it at Dragon Con a couple times. Super nice guy. Busy, right?
Yeah,
Super busy. He doesn't have time to sit there and talk to somebody all the time, all day, every day. Same with, like, literally Evil Ted. I got to hang out with him for a minute. I don't know that he even knows who I am. Quite honestly, I don't mind, because I know that the dude was just nice, right?
Yeah.
And he was cool, and I'll definitely recommend both those two. I mean, they're people that people recommend all the time, but there's a reason that those people recommend those people all the time.
Yeah.
It's because they're actually nice, and they do care, and they might not care all the time, right? So I consider myself somebody who does care about how things are going. If I just found out that my kid is in the hospital on my phone, and I'm in costume, and I'm walking through the convention to try to get to the hospital, and somebody stops me and says, hey, how'd you make that prop? I'm probably going to say something like, I'm sorry, I don't have time, or I've got to go, or something very short with them, and they might think I'm a dick, right? Don't care, actually, at that point.
Yeah.
But they need to understand, right? Like, when people are like, oh, this person, I don't know, pick famous cosplayer, pick famous prop builder, pick famous celebrity, that person blew me off. Well, you don't know what was going on in their day. You don't know what was happening. And it's something people got to know. And when you say it like that, it's very obvious, right? When I'm sitting there saying, well, their kid was on fire. Well, yeah no shit, everybody's going to understand.
Like, gotta go, emergency, I'm sorry. But as it is, mostly everybody that I've talked to, everybody I've ran into has been just generally nice. It's kind of awesome to know that, like, there's places like conventions that you can go to and have, like, small genuine interactions with people, whether it be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever. But
well, hell, we can go drinking the whole entire night, like, right? Like, that's totally a thing that
I'm down.
I mean, I can't actually. I have a family to go back to and
Oh, man.
a bunch of stuff to do in the morning.
Damn adult.
But actually, that's the fun part about conventions, right? So this is the other thing people don't know, and I like to say sometimes is when you get me in the shop or my daily, I'm busy. I'm working on lots of stuff. I got lots of things to do. When I go to a convention, I'm on vacation. So yeah, I'm going to be a different type of person, right?
Yeah.
Somebody messages me out of the blue on a Wednesday night, and they're like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Rah, rah. I'm going to be like, "Okay," but literally, I have a kid in my arms, and like, I have a lot of stuff that's due, and I have some problems right now. Like literally, they're like, I'm not going to say that probably to them, but there's a lot of stuff going on. At a convention, they roll up on me. I'm like, I'm going drinking, or I'm going to hang out with people in the lobby, or I'm going to a panel or something, right? I'm literally carefree at that point.
Yeah.
And at my convention, having fun. So the personality is, I'm on vacation, right? So my personality is legitimately different. Don't get me wrong. Right now, what day is it? Friday?
Friday.
Yeah, so it's Friday right now. It's Friday night. Hey, we're hanging out on Friday night, chilling, talking about this. Cool. Awesome. I'm still not on vacation. My demeanor might be a little bit different right now while we're in this conversation because I've slotted this time. But come on. In like 2 hours when I got a bunch of stuff to do, I'm not going to be like, hey, let's talk a bunch of like random stuff about prop building.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place. And I'm just trailing off. I'm just talking.
No,
Just talking.
That is kind of a good way to put it because
Well, that's a good point because if you're busy, you're busy. When you're not busy, you're not busy. So the cool thing about conventions, because I think all three of us were you're part of the Prop Tarts, right? On Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that group, dude.
Yeah,
they're so awesome.
yeah.
I hardly ever post on there, and I don't think
Same
I've ever
here.
even posted
I'm
any
a
like actual
lurker.
props.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of my favorite groups to just visit because there's just so much awesome stuff going on there. And
Yeah,
the
'cause
community there's great.
There's a lot of people posting stuff on there. I post in there. Freddie's posted in there. I've seen you in there before. Because like with the cool thing about like a group like the Prop Arts or Evil Ted's Phone Fanatics, same thing. A lot of those groups actually do con meetups.
Yeah.
And like, because I know they've done like at Dragon Con, they've had a Prop Arts meetup, and they had one at I think it was Rose City or Emerald City or something like that.
It was ECCC.
Yeah.
Emerald City, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go this year. I didn't go.
No, wait, it was at Dragon Con.
No, they had one at Dragon Con.
Yeah, they have one at Dragon Con this year
But
too.
yeah, there's a few of us here in Indy that we tried to plan a meetup, but was like two of us and we didn't meet up.
Well, I mean, that takes time to grow, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you can do the Prop Tarts of Indy if you want to, or you can do just an open invite to people because not everybody.
Oh yeah, I usually did open invite,
invite.
and
Yeah.
I mean, and the cool thing about that is look at what like Punish Props has done there, right? They've made this community that one is very supportive and awesome. Same with Evil Ted. Same with like Stephen K. Smith and Beer Money Props and all these really super awesome prop builders, right? The prop building community, Jackie Craft, Core Geek, all of them are, and I mean, there's a billion of them too. They're all these very supportive people. And what they've done is they've put these resources out there that most everybody uses. I mean, I see prop builders all the time commenting on stuff in that community. Vulpin Props comments on stuff, and like literally, he's dropping badass knowledge, Just boom, here's the thing, and I'm just like, what? My mind was blown on that, or maybe it's something I'm like, cool, I'm happy I knew about that too. But regardless, he'll take time to post in that group, and like basically it's this community that basically Punish Props has made, and not just Punish Props, everybody, and as the community goes, that's how it goes. But it's there to support people. They have meetups, and that's fantastic. And really, it's what the internet should be used for, because they're in Seattle, they're in LA, they're in Atlanta, Georgia, they're all over, right? Toronto, all these places.
Yeah.
And they're able to get to you guys in Indy. They're able to get to us in Lafayette, Indiana. right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Steve's over in St. Louis now, and we can drive over and talk to him, right? When we have C2E2, Steve's coming up. He's going to go to C2E2 with us. Awesome. We're kind of close for that, right? But that doesn't mean that the internet can't bring everybody together more. Like, I don't always plan on going out to LA to go to places. I don't plan on going to those other places. I guess what I'm saying is these communities, these groups, are literally helping everybody share information, but not just the share of information. Like, that's out there. Yeah. They're there to support each other. They're there to make actual contacts, to become friends with somebody who's close to you in your geographical area.
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's like groups like the Prop Nerds. It's a wide community spread across basically the world, because there's 25 administrators, including myself, who manage that, keeping an eye on the page, making sure nobody's being salty or
for Prop-Tarts.
For the Prop-Tarts. Or not administrators, moderators, I should say. I'm sorry. Yeah. Right words. But no, it's communities like that, as close as they are, as compared to how widespread they are, it's actually really nice to be a part of a community like that. And here in Indy, there's certain groups like the Indiana Cosplayers Association. You got your tight knit groups and those groups, but spreading out as far as sharing knowledge through these groups, I've seen that if there's something in there that somebody wants to do and they don't know how to do it, there's like 50 people right there answering questions, being helpful, being polite, and you'll get every once in a while somebody being salty. Then either one, it gets fixed by one of the moderators, or if it's really salty, that person just gets removed. And that barely happens.
Yeah, I mean, also you're entitled to your opinion as well. So,
exactly.
I mean, the places that I moderate stuff, I don't actually moderate anything on like Facebook groups or anything. But we have, like I said, I run a whole Cos Awesome Studios. And basically what it is it's a group of a bunch of cosplayers, and we have people all over the nation, and people fight. People date each other, okay? People then break up with each other. Yeah. People then date people who were exes of other people, right? That stuff happens, and there's a bit of saltiness that happens. However, really, most of the time, people can be adult about it. If they're not, if they're being an ass, then yeah, somebody's got to talk to them or something. A lot of times, I'll talk to them about it, because that's part of being an adult, but a lot of times, if you're just disagreeing in general, like I said, I have no problem with people just being like, hey, I bought this thing from Wulfgar Weapons. That's cool. I'm just going to use it. I don't really need to tag them in all kinds of stuff. Other people are going to highly disagree with me on that. That's fine. That's my opinion, and it's their opinion. If somebody gets on a group and starts flaming things on there, let it go. Let that discussion pan out, because people are going to learn.
Yep.
Yeah. Right? People are going to be able to give good points and that sort of thing. That's the other thing too. While I may disagree with certain people on certain things, I don't see a reason to block them, right? So if I block somebody, then we talked about this earlier in the conversation. Literally, people change. Okay, people can learn from their mistakes. I can learn from my mistakes. I expect to change very much over my life. I'm 36 years old now. I was not the same person I am now when I was 26. I wasn't the same person I was when I was 16. You absolutely can't judge people by that. So blocking people, and by the way, I mean, blocking people is a good thing that you have on Facebook if you want. I'm not saying don't block anybody, but I'm saying that if you want to actually open up a nice conversation with someone and get a little like feedback with someone, blocking them isn't the way to do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you disagree with somebody fundamentally and you block them, then you're never going to be able to ever influence the way they see things, because you blocked them.
Yeah,
so just keep that in mind in general. Again, though, I find that fun. I find somewhat I find the hard conversations kind of fun. Mm-hmm. However, if you don't, and you're going to lose a lot of time and sleep over it, and I talk about not messing with, caring about people tag us and stuff too, because it's just going to be too much time. If you're not having fun, then just block them and be done with it. right? Like,
Yeah.
don't spend your time if you want to be a successful prop builder, you want to be successful anything. Don't spend your time on stuff that isn't progressing what you're trying to do.
Yeah. It's always good advice to live by. Just
Yeah, that's solid advice.
there. Awkward silence.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. You just said advice. Ah, man, I'm such an old man in the fact that I try to. I
Let's
give
not-
advice to people, and I'm sorry that I give advice. And I'm sure that people on the internet think that I'm kind of pushy, and I'm like, yo, dog, you should do this, rah. And I'll just randomly post stuff like, FYI, you should do this, or, well, I don't know, maybe not FYI, but man, I just said that out loud. Usually you type that out. But, I mean, I give advice, and that's got to be my, like, dad mode coming out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying, like, obviously you can take it for what it is. I'm really not trying to be a dick and give people unsolicited advice. Sometimes I do that, and I'm sorry if that ever upsets anyone.
I've noticed being a parent that sometimes, like, oh, my advice meter is going up now. Uh-oh. Depending
Well,
on,
part of it too is like, man, I feel your pain, dude. You're in this situation I was in a while ago. If I had someone telling me, hey, don't worry about that, just move on to something else, and I would have like listened to them, I might be in a lot better spot than if I would have, gone down that rabbit hole. Like I said, there are lots and lots of rabbit holes, and time is the only thing that, time is the most valuable thing you got.
Yeah.
Just is.
it's the most valuable commodity a person has.
Yeah, so if anybody actually is still listening to this after what, like 2 hours or some shit?
No, we're at like an hour 30.
We're at an hour 30. So legitimately, if somebody's still listening to this, they listen to the whole thing, and we're sitting here telling them about how like valuable their time is, then I guess like thank you for listening there. Or
Well,
whatever.
my hopes is that whoever's listening, for one, thank you for listening to my shitty voice, but a lot of people that I've noticed who listen to podcasts are listening to while they're working or while they're working in their
Yeah.
shop.
Sure.
Because that's a lot I do. Because I've got a small select few podcasts that I listen to, including podcasts like Craft and Geek with Jack and Craft and Core Geek, or
Yeah.
Untitled with Adam Savage, and the Tested Crew, or Joe Rogan, or Hardcore History with Dan Carlin. A lot of hoping that I can at least provide some background noise while somebody's working. That would work, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and that's usually how I would listen to them too, or in a car or something.
Yeah.
I also like to listen to music and watch random YouTube channels. I know there's a lot of let's plays that go on in our shop, right? People will watch let's plays and people are like, why the fuck would anybody watch somebody else play the video game? Oh, I get it now. I used to say that. Right? I used to go straight old man and be like, why would you watch somebody else play the video game when you can just play the video game? Guess what? You can build stuff and you can do other things while watching people play a video game, and you still get the like experience of playing that video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you didn't like straight, press controller and do that thing. There's fun stuff about that too. I love playing video games when I have time. I just don't have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
But watching Let's Plays is totally sweet.
Yeah.
Game Grumps all the way.
Yeah, I've watched some Let's Plays while I'm working, or should say I've had it playing in the background while I'm working. I should say that. But as far as video games goes, I've been playing Skyrim a lot recently because I've got some costumes I got planned out
I've
from
been
them.
playing a lot of the new South Park game, and I'm going to tell you what, man, it is out there.
Yeah, I watched the playthrough with that. Literally the next day, the game came out, and the next day somebody had already played through the game and edited out all the playthrough and just did all the cutscenes. So it was like a 5-hour movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like those too.
Yeah,
But like I said, I don't have time to play any video games at all. So that's how I get my video game fix a little bit.
yeah,
I mean, when I do play, I used to like to play like Heroes of New Earth, which is basically it's a Dota. It's the second Dota. It's a RTS. Or not an RTS. I forget what the fuck they're called. MOBAs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they are. So and recently I've been playing League of Legends because that's literally the one that's been like popular for a while.
Yeah.
And some of the guys in the shop play that too. And that's cool. That's fun. I also used to be that guy that knew everything about the game in Han, which is Heroes of New Earth. Now that I'm in in League of Legends, it bothers me because I don't have hours upon hours upon hours upon hours to know what everybody does and how strategy is supposed to be done and all this other stuff. And now I just go on there and I'm like, I'm a fucking total detriment to my team because they'll be like, oh, attack this character. And I'm like, fuck if I know what's that character look like right now with that skin? Please tell me. And I feel like such a fucking noob, right? But that's part of it. I am a noob, actually, at that point. But I know...
It's okay.
But, yeah, it's kind of okay, and the reason it's okay is because we're doing it for fun.
Yeah,
right?
it's
frustrating. Before. It's really frustrating. It does. I feel bad because, like, the guys in the shop are trying so hard, and they're like, just, motherfucker, right-click that character, and we win. Don't, and we lose. And I'm like, which one? Right? Bad. Which is bad. But, so...
it happens.
Yeah, no, it does happen. But I can justify that by the fact that I can't... It's just like 3D modeling. Okay, so I've done a little bit of 3D modeling. I don't 3D model. We have a guy we work with who lives in Texas now, and it's Treywick Designs, and that dude is a bamf. I mean, and quite honestly, he just goes through and makes new designs and things, and basically we do a lot of the finishing work for him. Okay, but we couldn't be where we are today without that guy. And we wouldn't be where we are today without other people in the shop that know about 3D printing, who are 3D printing experts. I run this lab down here, like we said. That lab, if you want to know how to do 3D printing, I will set you up with someone else. If you want to know how to do laser cutting, you talk to me. Absolutely, I will totally. I've been on the laser cutter for 3+ years, and have a lot of just real world experience on it. That's cool. I love laser cutting. And I love doing a lot of building and like just with foam work and by our own hand. But there's a lot of stuff I don't know anything about. I've never sewed a stitch in my life. I may at some point, but I always joke that I'm probably never going to, mainly because I'm going to always
have somebody there to do it for you.
Maybe not have someone there, but I'll always find someone to do that for me. As far as I'll pay them to do it, right? Like I'll contract that out. And there's a lot of people who are awesome. There's a lot of my costumes my McCree costume, lady that made that was out in California, and I just met her randomly. So I went and I ended up staying at her house with her boyfriend for E3, and she was like, "Yeah, I just saw this work that she was doing, and it's badass." I'm like, "Well, hey, can you make this McCree poncho thing, right?"
Oh, yeah.
So she makes the McCree poncho thing for me. I'm like, sweet, thank you. I mean, I would have never been able to do that in a million years myself, but there's other stuff I could. So there's no reason to try to be. I know when I first started, and that's something I would probably definitely give it for advice on prop builders who are first starting. Pick something that you like, roll with it, rock it, go out there and have fun with it. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything about everything, too. You can know enough about something that you know how molding works. So if I go to sculpt and I'm a sculptor, I need to know how molding works because I need to know how big of overhangs I should make on stuff, right? How thick of pieces I should do on things because if it's going to be molded, there's a certain way of sculpting it. So know about everything you can, but then don't get caught up on the fact that you don't know about stuff. Because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, kind of veered off again. Happens, but
having a conversation with me. Actually,
yeah.
That's what I did.
You started off with just basically college party doing superhero theme, then you moved on to Gears of War. What after you did your Gears of War costume that you got that done? What gave you the drive to see what else you could do?
So the reason I bring up the Gears of War costume, which was the third year, I think it was the third year of the superhero party, and we'd been having fun partying already. I was Punisher the first year, and I forget what I was. I was Constantine the second year, which Constantine was my first prop I ever made. I made the Constantine, the Keanu Reeves Constantine,
like the
crossbow shotgun, and I still have it, and I will never sell it, and I love the thing to death, but it looks pretty bad. Okay? It just looks bad. But at the time, man, I was happy with it.
Oh.
Okay? And my wife was super proud of me. My friends were all like, oh man, that shit's badass. And that's part of what led to it, right? And I feel like that's how a lot of prop builders start. And I mean, I was taking, I made it out of, sorry, I'm totally not answering your question, like, at all.
Right.
I will get back to your question, but I made it out of, PVC and wood, and literally the handle's all wood. And
Yep.
it's I went out to one of my friends' like workshops because I didn't have any ability to cut like wood pieces at the time, and I sat there with like the fact it has all the big shotgun shells on the.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really tired right now. Like, you even think about the cylinder. Like, it actually has a
Yeah.
cylinder. Well, I sat there and hand drilled all those, and now I'm like, oh my god, with a laser cutter, I would just knock that down, no problem. Or with a drill press, right? If I had a drill press, it'd been fantastic, right? So anyway, I made this, and it like the holes didn't line up, but didn't care. It didn't matter, and that's also part of it. I realized early on that if the holes in the front look good and they look like they're going to the cylinders, the holes in the back, maybe if they don't line up directly. Nobody really cares. You might see it, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to take this prop and put it in a museum. You're not going to sit there and be like, look at this awesome work I'm going to do. It's a cosplay prop, right? You're going out and you're having fun with it. And also, that's the other thing, too. We're better at doing things now, but when people ask me for something, to build something, a lot of times I'm like, what's your budget? And also, do you want it to be like, is it cool if it's a cosplay prop? Is it cool? And that's where it gets bad, because I don't want to downgrade cosplay. But basically, do you want it to be a hero prop, I guess, from a movie film? Do you want it to be completely highly detailed? Well, cool, then I can do that, but we're going to spend a shit ton more time on it, and it's going to cost a lot more money.
Yep.
Then if you want something, and a lot of people, really, they come to me and they're like, there's somebody that just asked me about Van Helsing's crossbow. Man, I'm totally digressing. I will get back to that comment, that question now. But somebody just asked me about Van Helsing's crossbow, and I was like, well, okay. I mean, do you want the individual bolts done? Do you want, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy shit, this is a masterpiece of a weapon.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. I would love to spend the time and effort to make it badass and awesome.
Yeah,
like, replicate that shit. Right? But if somebody doesn't have the money to pay me, or to pay us to replicate it, then, I mean, we can't. I mean, you're not going to get a replica for, a couple $100. It's not happening.
Yep.
So then I'll give them quotes, and I'll basically say, hey, if you want it like completely movie quality, like individual parts, it's going to be this much, and this much, and this much. And a lot of those quotes also depend on how bad I want to make it. Right? I'm not gonna lie, I quoted him low. He was a friend, and also he had a prop that I really want to build. Van Helsing's crossbow. Hell yeah, let's do this. I really want to do that. If it's another prop that I don't care about, then it will be more, possibly. And also, if it's from somebody who's not a friend, there's that too.
Yeah.
Or a repeat customer. And there's a lot of that comes back. Okay, so back to we're at a party, and we decided that we were going to do superhero party. And the second one, I was Constantine, past that. Going back, okay, so the third one I was Gears of War. Learned a bunch of cool stuff. Had all kinds of fun with that. Realized later on that I'd used a lot of the same materials and whatnot.
Yeah.
I covered the front of it with plumber's putty, with literally that 2-part plumber's putty, and sanded the fuck out of it. Put it on I put it on with as flat as I could get it in my hands, and then I just sat there I didn't have a belt sander. I just sat there with a mouse hand sander for I don't know, a couple hours, just sanding it on my porch, and it turned out well, right? It's cool. I'm happy that it's a thing, but man, I won't do that again. There's better ways to do it. So anyway, we made those costumes. We brought them to the superhero party. People were like, "Oh my god, they're badass!" And there's 3 of them. You should go. One of my friends, Joe Fowler, who has been with me since the start of Cause Awesome. He was like, "That's con-worthy, right?" I mean, I think his actual terminology of it was, "That's worthy of going to cons." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean cons? What?" And then he's like, "Yeah, there's conventions, like comic conventions that people go to that wear costumes, and they wear good costumes, and you could take that and that would be it's con-worthy in his mind, right?"
Yeah.
Now that being said, going back, I think that literally every costume is con-worthy. If you're having fun in your costume, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Right? Literally, it can be falling apart. It can be It doesn't matter. You're having fun. Have fun.
Notice that with the Beatdown Boogies, Dragon Con videos, that there's such a huge variety and quality of costumes, and people are just there having fun.
Oh yeah.
They could spend 2 hours making something out of cardboard and it still looks cool, or they could spend 100 hours making something out of like warbler or foam or whatever. But
if you notice, and I don't know if this is some kind of like weird thing I'm not supposed to say as a prop builder, but there's a lot of cosplayers, a lot of prop builders who go to Dragon Con and straight bring like one, like Stephen K did it, he's a genius. He brought one super badass costume.
yeah,
Everybody loved his Theron guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he didn't have costume. I think he wore Grumpy Cat.
Yeah,
Because he
he's
does
like,
a great
I tried
Grumpy
cosplay
Cat.
once and I
He
hated
does
it.
he does a great Grumpy Cat
Yeah, I
cat
saw
face,
that.
right? But otherwise, he was hanging out just partying at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I like Dragon Con is I can go and I can bring those like interactive costumes. I don't bring Space Wolves to Dragon Con because it's not what I don't consider it a showcase con. I consider there are people who do it for showcases. I mean, it's a huge con. By all means, make it whatever you want. But it's a fun con. So there's a lot of prop builders who will go to Dragon Con, they'll go to other cons, and they're not trying to bring their super duper crazy best all the time. And they're just there to have fun. And like, it's funny because there's these people walking around that you know have made and can make. And at Dragon Con, you got people that are who've made stuff for movies. You got people who are making things that are, you know, $200,000, $300,000, like in cars and movie props and all this stuff. And they're still around, right? They're still there, just hanging out, drinking. They're not trying to bring in their $20,000 suit of armor and walk around with it, right? Like some people are, and that's cool if they want to do that. And I definitely know some people who do that. But it's really whatever you want to make it. But it's funny because you see a lot of prop builders who are like, yeah, it's vacation time. Like it's I'm at a con, I'm not in the shop. It's exactly what I talked about earlier. I want to go to a con and have a vacation. I want to go and have fun and hang out with my friends.
Yeah, because the old Ted had his alien costume where he had his arm and the alien was coming out. That was pretty cool. Jackie Kraft did like a White Walker, where's Waldo combo, just walking around having
Absolutely.
fun. And stuff like that. It's clever, cool. You don't have to spend a ton of time on it. But I think like it was BlizzCon that just happened.
Yep.
That Jackie Kraft had this like a really amazing set of armor.
Yeah, that's the showcase con. From what I know, I've never been to BlizzCon. It's always like at a bad time of year for me, and it's also kind of hard to get passes / time off for. And like I said, bad time of year. But yeah, it's definitely a showcase con. And there's it probably isn't a showcase con to everybody. I'm sure that there are people that go to BlizzCon and they're like, yeah, it's BlizzCon. I'm just gonna hang out with my friends. And there's other people that do the costume contest, TwitchCon, same way. Literally name a convention, C2E2. C2E2, I tend to try to bring is more of a showcase con for me, right?
Okay.
So you'll see me try to bring some better. Well, I don't know if it's better, but basically some stuff that I've actually put some work into, as opposed to Dragon Con when I was like, you know what'd be fun is if we go with the Hook crew. I'm not even sure I'm the one that came up with it. I think John Quaid came up with it. And he was like, I want to be Rufio. Let's just all be characters from the Hook. And it was my most fun costume I brought the entire weekend. I was Hook.
I saw those pictures.
I literally bought like mostly store-bought stuff. I think we made the Hook. One of the guys in my shop, the guy that played Smee, made me a Hook, which was fantastic. His name's Weber. And so he made me a drinking hook. And other than that, everything else was store-bought, and we just kind of like did eye makeup and that sort of thing. And I went out and I had a blast. My wife bought a onesie costume, a crocodile onesie, and had a big clock on it. On like a big little flaming
awesome.
clock, so she was a croc with a clock.
Oh, that's what's up.
We had her, and
That's
we had
gangster.
me, and we had Smee, and honestly, myself and Smee, I had so much fun doing it because we were right in tune. It was a Hook with Smee. Like, come on, it's fantastic. And then the best part about it was we had the croc with the clock, and we had Rufio. We were supposed to have a pan, but it didn't work out. It didn't matter, right? We had tons of fun. Rufio was there. People would chant Rufio, and we'd start chanting Captain Hook, and try to like get people to stop chanting Rufio and start chanting for Captain Hook. That's fun. I usually am not. I don't play many villains. Like when I say play, just costume as whatever you want to call it. And I also never consider myself somebody who got into the character very much. Right? Like I was like, oh, I'm a Gears of War guy. I'm just gonna stand here and rah. But now the more I do it, the more it's super fun to actually get into the character.
Yeah.
Especially when you can. We did the Tremors guys for like 2 times at DragonCon, 2 different years, and 2 times each time at DragonCon. And literally, it's the guys from Tremors were just yelling it out. They're under the ground. We got to get out of here. And we made little duct tape graboids that we have on our shoulder. But I mean, the whole costume is just us in denim on denim, right? And I mean, it's all about just going out and having fun. And literally, that's probably one of my favorite costumes as well, right? And we're the Tremors guys. And it's just fun.
Yeah. What was the first costume you made for your first con?
Did I ever answer that other question?
No.
Shit.
I think you did.
Well,
I don't think I did. Because it was like, so what happened after Gears of War? I'm like, stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, it's obviously stuff happened.
Yeah, stuff and things happened after Gears of War.
Yeah, but
really,
like,
the reason, to answer that question, because I really don't like leaving unanswered questions. Wow, that sounded too much dad-like. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it went from there. So then I found out what a convention was. I was like, sweet, let's do this, and it's fun. And we started going to conventions, and I brought Cable to C2E2, and people were like, man, Cable's really cool. And I met a lot of awesome people. And then one thing led to another. Cause Awesome was formed, and then basically after that, we rocked as Cause Awesome for a while, for a couple years, and then Wulfgar Weapons was formed. So basically, Seth came in and was like, "Hey, I want to do this full time," and he ended up being basically key instrumental to being full time Wulfgar Weapons, and we went from there. And it's grown, and now we have different people who work for us. All of them, like I said, as contractors, and it's just a great group of people. So Wulfgar Weapons has gone off from that, and again, my situation is probably a little different because, like, I started off as a cosplayer, right, and I still do consider myself a cosplayer and a prop builder.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people who are prop builders will be like, I'm not really much of a cosplayer, and vice versa, right? So
I've only had a handful of costumes I've done.
yeah.
Most of the ones, like my first time I went to Gen Con, I threw together a quick Doctor Who costume. Because oddly enough, kind of off topic, is one of my nicknames is the Doctor. So I was like, might as well do a costume. So I
Absolutely, yeah. Right.
I
have fun with it.
I took one of my black slacks to wear at work, and got like a tannish yellow shirt, and went and bought a tweed jacket at a thrift store, threw it together,
where it's at,
got a bow
man.
tie,
Yeah.
boom, done.
That's the other thing too. Like as a prop builder, I like thrift stores a lot. And there's a thing called found item cosplay, and there's like things that like, I mean, I build stuff out of Nerf guns. And guess what's at thrift stores? Nerf guns for cheap.
A lot of Nerf
Right?
guns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have probably 400 Nerf guns in the storage in the shop that we basically, somebody asks, hey, can you make this cool thing? I mean, if you make this, can you make this cool, like, alien prop? I'll go to the Nerf guns. I'll go to the airsoft guns. I'll go to those things first, unless they have a specific design that we need to 3D print or do that. But the thing is, the key to it is make it so it doesn't look like a Nerf gun anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the goal.
And honestly, and not even that. Like, I don't care. A lot of my guns for Cable are obviously Nerf guns, right? That's fine. I painted them up. It's cool. Again, I don't really care. You also find a lot of stuff for me that when I'm wearing it, it's not 100% perfect like it would be for a customer,
Okay.
right? Like I know the back of this looks like crap, but I don't care.
Yeah,
Right.
it's for yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I've made things that it's like, well, this doesn't look perfect, but it's for me. I don't care. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, and also there's a certain amount of knowing when to be done.
Yeah.
Right? So, there is artists, there's a lot of artists that like just won't want to let go of a project. Well, when you're trying to make money, you gotta let go of the project.
Yeah.
You got to. And I whispered because literally that's like, don't let everybody hear that because they'll get upset because artists want to keep going on a project. I don't fight about that all the time, but like that's a good discussion that happens in the shop, right? Somebody will be like, well, I don't think this is quite right. I'm like, well,
Are you gonna waste 5 more hours, or are you just gonna call it quits?
We need to be done with this. I don't want you to put out something that you're not proud of. No. So please figure out the best way for you to be proud of this in the next couple hours or something, or whatever. And it also helps too when I'm paying people as contractors and they're on commission work. They can spend as much time as they want on something. That being said, they're still getting the same amount of money on if I'm subcontracting out something and I'm like, hey, can you please make this scope for me on this gun, or can you please make this piece? They'll get me what they'll get me, and they'll get me the money. Like they'll get as much money as we've agreed upon for that contract. And if it is super perfect, I've had somebody in the shop that has come in and done Bondo and sanding and Bondo and sanding and Bondo and sanding for something that we literally only charged like $100 or some odd thing total. And like, you understand the material that you used on this thing is almost the cost of the actual prop. And she's just like, well, I don't care. I want it to be really good, and that's part of it. And I'm like, well, cool. Well, you're getting like half of that, right? Or you're literally almost losing money, and you're getting paid very little in time. But that's fine because that's what you want to do. And also, you're building the experience there, right? And I don't think that you shouldn't. I also think you should take prop commissions on like what you want to do, right? So that's helpful. I found that if I'm building something that I don't really have any interest in, then it's not as fun, right? I'll still do it. Sometimes it's fun just to like figure out how this thing works, even though I've never seen it actually work. But if it's something like that I'm all into, then it's way more fun.
That's what I've done for my first commission was from a buddy of mine. He asked me to build the Lion's Vigil armor from Destiny, and he wanted a full suit. Mm-hmm. And then I've never made a full suit myself before, and I took it because I wanted to see if I could do it. And I'm still working on it, and I got this commission in January, and he told me, I said, when do you want this done by? He said, whenever. Like, okay, so now it's almost a year later. I'm still working on it. It looks great. Cool. For my first job doing this, I've learned a lot. I've done casting, I've done sculpting, I've done almost everything under the sun for this thing, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
And how many questions on that costume have you asked me?
I don't have that many fingers.
Yeah, so that's awesome, right? So what you're doing is you're able to find was this a friend?
Yes.
Okay, so that's another huge thing. So when I first started doing this, I started building things for friends, not for money, right? I was just like, dude, you're part of Cause Awesome, you're part of my friend group. By all means, let me make you a helmet. Let me do this thing because you're going to come to this convention with me. It's going to be a cool, awesome experience. So I learned a lot just doing that and building stuff for myself. Mm-hmm. And then, once I started charging people for stuff, I wasn't charging a lot, and it just gets more and more. You get to charge more as you learn more experience, and as you can say, I can deliver this in like 3 weeks, right? And don't get me wrong, we're hard pressed to make full suits of costumes or full suits of armor in 3 weeks, but we can do it. We built 5 of the Space Wolf costumes in 3 weeks.
Oh God!
But they were long days, and we definitely had we had 5 people that were wearing them, and 4 people were working on them, and it was pretty grueling. But again, now if you did it, that was years ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now if you had us do it, actually Seth's going to be building another suit of armor that's much like that, and we're planning on doing the whole suit in a week. Right?
Man.
But that's long days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that'll happen, but that's what we're scheduling for. And of course, we got to schedule that to the point where he doesn't have anything else going on. Right? Literally, let's clear his plate. Let's get him the materials. Let's make sure we have the checklist of all the stuff that is happening. I don't want to have to run to the store to buy something. That's a huge thing too. So there's a lot of the logistics behind it that you don't always have, but you learn from. And the biggest thing is to learn from your mistakes, right?
I have
Holy
definitely
shit.
learned from my mistakes, and he has let me know that I need to learn from my mistakes.
Also, I will say, I'll be the first one to say that a lot of the mistakes I've made like 3 or 4 or 5 times. I'm still making some of the same
Oh
mistakes.
yeah,
Right? So, yeah, I say learn from your mistakes. Sometimes it's not always the same. Shipping costs. Holy shit, man. I constantly am burning myself because I'm like, oh, yeah, we can ship that for you for $20. And then I'm like, at the post office, they're like, no, this is over 3 feet long. It's going to be a lot more. I'm like, damn it. Okay, cool. We'll go back and, like, I eat the cost on that because, you know, I'm not going to go back to the customer and be like, yo, dog, I totally screwed the pooch on giving you this estimate and I need more money because that's just unprofessional and shitty. Don't do that. I don't think you should do that.
I've had that mistake. My very first prop that I sold went to the UK, and I was very proud of it. And I was like, all right, 15 for shipping. Turned out to be $32, and it was this little itty bitty box that cost $32 just to get there. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
How'd you ship it?
USPS, first class.
You got lucky as fuck shipping something like that for. I mean, you got lucky. It was small, right? Because overseas, like a suit of armor overseas, I think that like the cheapest we can do it for. And if anybody out there actually has something better, by all means, please contact me and be like, yo, I know better ways of shipping. But overseas, a suit of armor, if it's pretty big, is gonna go. I'm afraid it's gonna go for like $1,000. And in boxes, it'll go for, I don't know, like 700, 600. I had no idea. We're literally getting, like, that stuff that, by the way, you will lose all of your profit if you misquote shipping. That is a thing. If somebody contacts you and says, hey, I'd like to make this commission. This is a really good piece of advice I use all the time. It will be plus shipping. We will calculate the shipping after we calculate the shipping, and you will owe the shipping for that after the shipping has been calculated. Instead of me being like, oh yeah, I'll charge you, because I'm being nice and I'll just throw this out to you and say $20 for shipping on that. Well, guess what? Now I just say plus shipping to wherever you are, and some people want an actual number, so I might have to, a lot of times I ask for their zip code or ask for whatever it is, and I try to give a good estimate. But again, that takes a lot of time and everything.
Yeah.
It's definitely good customer service, so you should do it.
Okay.
But now it's a lot easier just to say plus shipping, okay? And we also offer payment plans too. And you pretty much have to when you're shipping something for $700, right? Now you don't have to because there's some people that are like, yeah, sure, here's a check for a ton of money, and I don't really care because I have a lot of money. But offering payment plans and that sort of thing, and the way you're able to offer payment plans is to be trusted, right? To have people that vouch for you. And like honestly, if somebody's coming to me and they want to spend thousands of dollars on a prop and they're going to get a payment plan going, awesome, we can do the payment plan. But they have to trust me enough that I'm not going to take, the initial money and then just be like, peace, that's fine, because they don't have a prop yet.
Yeah.
Right? People pay up front for props for the most part, but they have to know that I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right? So I have skin in the game, and if I rip you off, or I rip you off, or I rip somebody else off, I don't get to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that goes. But if I'm a pop-up prop shop, and I charge you a couple grand, and you pay it up front, and then I just disappear off of the face of the earth, then that sucks, but there's not a lot that you can do to it. By the way, anybody out there listening that's possibly thinking about doing that, don't fucking do that. You're a dick. Don't do that. That's breaking rule number 1. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, I ordered a 3D printed 10mm pistol from Fallout 4 off of Etsy for like $30.
He was telling me this on the way up.
I was telling him it's on the way here. The guy said it'd be a couple weeks, like not a big deal. Has some orders to take care of. get an email stating that my printer broke down, order a new printer, it's going to be a couple extra other weeks. It's like, okay. You know, a couple weeks go by, send another email. It's like, hey, how's it going? How's this looking? He's like, it's in a box, ready to go. It's like, sweet. And another couple weeks go by. It's like, hey, we did not receive our shipment. Another week goes by. Hey, we did. What's going on? We haven't received our ship. Dude shuts down his Etsy store, disappears. It's like, I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't spend a whole lot of money on that because I'd probably be a lot more salty.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell them what happened.
Oh, well, yeah.
You don't wanna?
No, I don't want to.
I thought it was funny.
It is funny.
Sure. I mean, you don't want to go into it. Don't go into it. Man.
No, it's a conversation I had on the RPF. Don't really necessarily
Yeah.
need to spread
Well, and
anymore.
and quite honestly, that's the thing. Like, and that's why, as professional prop builders go, you're representing and Bill Duran's done a lot of good videos on this. Actually, he just did the intellectual property video. It was real good.
Yep.
But you as a prop builder are not only representing yourself, but you're also representing literally every other prop builder. So if people get burned on doing business with you and they think that you just didn't do well or whatever, then you have that responsibility to own up to it and to try to fix things if possible, not just for you, but also for the rest of the cosplay community and the prop building community. The way that I'm able to build props myself is the fact that there were prop builders before me. Okay,
Yeah.
because people now trust them. People understand that you need to pay me up front at least partially. Usually, what happens is if it's big, we accept like either 10% down or 60%, 10% down to start, and then just to like slot it, and then 60% up front, and then 40%. The 10% rolls into the 60. So it goes basically 60% up front, and then 40% plus shipping on completion. The reason I like doing that is because people don't need to spend all of their money and then just hope that one day I get it done. Two, I have an actual incentive. I have skin in the game to get that done, so I get that 40% back, or that 40% that I'm like depending on to keep my company running,
Yeah.
right? Or depending on to pay people, right? So, and then the shipping happens. So really, they're mainly paying about 50% of whatever the thing is up front. We build it. We send them pictures. We send them approval pictures. They come back and say, "Yes, I approve it. Like this is cool," or "No." But at least then, if they say no, or if they have issues with it, we can change it, and we have a reason to change it,
Yeah.
right? Because we want to finish up that transaction, not just because we want to be upfront and like actually good company and give good customer service, but of course we want to, but we also we want them to pay the rest of the way of the 40% and finish a good transaction, have them go out and recommend it and do well. I mean, anytime as a prop builder, you need to make it a good experience for them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the reason that I want to make it a good experience isn't just because I want people to come back to me. It's because I want people to trust in prop builders.
Yeah.
Okay? I want people to know that if they want something done, then they can go and they can ask somebody else who's an expert in it or who's trying to be a prop builder, who's not even trying to, somebody who is a prop builder. They can go to you and they can say, "Hey, I want this hammer built. Can you build me this hammer?" And they're not going to think, "Man, is this just a racket?" Right? They understand that actual prop builders are things. This is what Punish Props has done before us.
Yeah.
So Evil Ted's been doing forever. That's what a lot of people have been doing for a long time. And the reason I'm able to actually make money doing this is because they had a good name. You know, they've had that good name. They've done that community relations even. And I want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's most certainly a thing. And there's prop builders out there. There's all kinds of horror stories on the internet about it. But people have to understand there are always going to be dicks. Every community, there's always going to be dicks. There's going to be people who financially go under. I mean, hell, one of my cars actually is from a brand name big automotive company. One of the contractors that makes a part on my car has gone out of business. They can't get that part anymore. Now my car is actually a little unsafe to drive, right?
Yeah.
I'm not happy about that. They literally have come back and said, not much we can do. We can't get that part. It's something that was manufactured by somebody that wasn't us. I'm sitting here going, what the hell, right? Again, it's the same way. That one company that major company was contracting from messed up badly, had to do a recall, went bankrupt. That sucks, but that's kind of how that goes.
Yeah.
Prop builders are going to mess up badly. They're going to have actual sicknesses befall upon themselves, right? Quite honestly, if I'm doing what I'm doing and I get some major sickness tomorrow, I'm going to have to refund a bunch of people money, and I will, but a lot of things, like a lot of prop builders may not, right? Or they may go off the face of the earth for a while and then come back, all right? And they're like, there's a lot of life that actually happens. And what you're doing is you're trying to trust in that prop building company, and hopefully it's an actual company. Like, I have an actual company.
Mm-hmm.
It is not, I pay taxes. And that's another bitch of a thing. I charge more, right? I have to charge more because I have income that I pay taxes on. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can undercut me. I don't know if you have an actual company or not, or whether you charge taxes on your thing.
Not yet.
Okay, so that's fine. You don't need to either. You just said that you're building your first suit of armor. But the thing is, if somebody comes to me and somebody comes to you and you give them a quote on a suit of armor and I give them a quote on a suit of armor, the chances are that you've quoted lower than me for lots of different reasons. But a main reason of that is the fact that I then have to say, okay, well, just for numbers' sake, it's $1,000. Okay, you're gonna spend $1,000 on the suit of armor. I quote you $1,000. You quote $1,000, or actually you can do it for $500, or you quote $750. So we'll go $750, $1,000. Sorry, these numbers are confusing people. Anyway, the reason that I'm quoting the $1,000 is one, experience, but then two is the fact that I have to go, okay, well, 25% of that, or 20% of that, or 15% of that is all going to be taken out in taxes, in income taxes. If you're running a smaller shop that isn't paying taxes yet, you don't have to pay that. You don't have to worry about that, right? So your bottom line doesn't have to worry about that. That being said, you could drop off the face of the planet a lot easier than I could, right? So it's kind of that whole insurance thing. Like I've taken the time to make the company. I paid the legal fees and done a bunch of stuff like that. I'm invested. I'm literally all in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just drop off the face of the earth, probably. Right? Like,
Hope not.
I mean, I could die, right? Like,
Oh, yeah,
like,
okay, that,
well,
let's
like-
go that way.
Right? Like, I'm not trying to say I'm a dick, but if I get hit by a bus or we're driving down to Dragon Con full of my entire shop plus like a bunch of my other friends and that goes off a cliff, by the way, hopefully the God that doesn't fucking ever happen,
Knock
but if
on
it
wood.
does, by the way, we won't be responding to email messages anytime soon. Okay, so again, it's what we talked about at the very, very beginning of this podcast, like 3 fucking million years ago. You know, last week when we started this conversation. Sorry, I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying this conversation.
I am too.
This is all good, man. It's enjoyable.
It's a lot about being there and trusting people and understanding that like there's got to be integrity within the work. And I was going to go to something else that we talked about earlier, and I totally forgot what I've done. But anyway, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Rule number 1: don't be a dick.
We can learn a thing or two from not being a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was that one thing?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Well, one, I guess, kind of one segment I do have next to getting the origin story after shooting the shit for a half hour here, half hour there,
Yeah.
and the story in between is to somebody who wants to become a maker. They've got the idea. Maybe I can try making something. Maybe I could either one do it as a hobby because, like me, I have a full-time job for 40 plus hours a week. When I make props, it's for myself. Every once in a while, I'll do a commission, but it's more of a hobby.
But you're using the money from your commissions that you're doing to pay for your hobby, right?
Yeah.
Like to pay for passes to get into conventions and to pay for building your costumes, right?
Yeah. But for
That's
somebody,
awesome.
but for somebody
Definitely.
who wants to get into it, but they're not quite sure how they can get into it. Rather, for you for props and costumes, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to try and do something that you do?
Are you talking about
Just
taking that plunge, that total leap of being like, yo, dog,
A full-time maker.
full-time maker?
or you got, or they're a full-time maker, or just starting to make things.
Okay, well, there's a big difference between being full-time maker. I have a part-time job here,
Yeah.
right? And quite honestly, I could do a lot better if I had a full-time job here, right? Like I would like to build this, being the lab manager here, even more, right? Because I could do a lot more with the community. I could do a lot more with lots of stuff there. It might take away a little bit from my actual prop building, but what it would do is it would just expand everything more. So I'm not saying that. So a lot of prop builders I know, and I don't know all of them, and I don't know what their situation is, at least have some type of other source of income. Either their spouse is working, or they have money from their old job saved up, or they won the lottery. I don't fucking know. But a lot of them are like, yo, I have 2 cents to my name. I'm going to be a prop builder. However, I do know some of them that have done that. Those are mainly prop builders who work full time for me. The ones I know are that way. So quite honestly, I'm not trying to like sell you on coming to work for me or something, but finding somebody who's already building. I know, I don't know exactly what the situation is down there, so I don't want to really speak on it too much. But I know that like Hex Mortis Props is a badass, and he's got a lot of people who work for him, and I know he worked for other people before him. And quite honestly, that's how you learn a lot of stuff too. So what I would say is go search out, find someone who's doing well or looking for the ability to have other people, bring people on their shop. I'm always looking for experts. I'm always looking for people to do commission work for me. Find people like me, find people out there and say, okay, well, I want to do this full time. What do you got for me? Like, what's the niche that you need? What can I do? Or if you want to do it completely on your own, you can, but just know that your time, unfortunately, the way prop building works right now is people will look at a gauntlet that you made, right? You made it out of foam. They'll be like, man, this gauntlet looks sweet, awesome. Love this gauntlet. How much is it? And you'll be like, it's $150. And they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's $150 fucking my heart fucking order. Ramble, rabble. It's just foam. Rah. And then you think about it and you go, okay, cool, dude. Fine. You don't want it? Awesome. I got other people that will pay for that. If not, that's fine. I will go on. But the reason that they get angry is because to them it's just foam. And to you, and the reason you think it's worth $150, which it probably is the fact that you spent how many hours on that, right? So say you spend 10 hours making something super cool, right?
Yeah.
If you go by an hourly wage, $10 an hour, which isn't much, by the way, especially when you have to pay for like insurance and everything else that you're trying to pay for because you're trying to work on your own. $10 an hour is something you can't work for on your own sometimes, right? Like you can, but you have to have good cost of living. You have to your cost of living has to be low, and I don't know. It's completely individual depending on what's going on. But if you're trying to pay for all the things you need to pay for, and you realize that if you're going to try to pay yourself $10 an hour plus the materials you put into that gauntlet, $150 all of a sudden doesn't sound bad. If they try to say, like, fuck off, that's just foam, or whatever it is, and they say, I'll give you $60 for it, literally what they're telling you is that they want to pay you $2 an hour for your expertise. Yeah. Okay? And that's just unacceptable for everybody, like across the board. They aren't actually telling you either. They aren't dicks, right? They aren't actually just being like, I think you as an individual are worth $2.50 an hour. That's not what they're saying, right? They don't know. They straight up don't know. It's the same way when I walk into when I pick up Sharper Image, right? And I'm on an airplane, I picked it up, I'm like, sweet, that like giant life-size Tyrannosaurus that has a slide on it for my kids looks awesome. I want to buy that, and I look at the price tag, and it's $4,000 or more, and I'm like, whoa, never mind. I don't think it's worth $4,000. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. But there's also going to be people out there that are like, yeah, $4,000. My kid's going to love that. Like, please, assistant, please write a check for $4,000 to show up our image. I'd like that dinosaur in my backyard by Friday, right? There are people that have that kind of money and will do that. Those are also the people that you're trying to sell to
Yeah.
as a prop builder. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who want to sell to their friends, but they're trying to be a prop builder and they're not in a, how do I say this? For example, my friends all can't afford a lot of the props that we build.
Yeah.
Okay?
Same here.
I personally can't always afford the props that I build.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. I don't like that. That's why friends get friends discounts. If somebody comes down and they do a trade with me, there's a lot. Honestly, I most certainly think that everybody has value, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like perks in general that you can get from either being friends with people, and it could be contacts, it could be work, it could be the fact that, hey, dude, we got this extra set of Gears of War armor, and nobody's going, and we got nobody else going to the convention with us. We're going to be Gears of War. You want to wear it? You want to hang out for a day in Gears of War? Cool. If you want to, awesome. If that matters to you, if that's a perk to you, great. Do it. If not, then somebody else will, and that's fine, right? So there's more to paying people, and more. Some of it isn't just about that money, that bottom line, but again, the people you're trying to sell to need to know the worth and the value of the props that you're making. So I would say that's actually one of the hardest things about being a prop maker, and one of the things you need to, as you get into it, definitely know that. I mean, think about, I don't know about you guys, but my parents, if I were to pull up a Nerf gun that I'd modified and done all kinds of work on and everything, and been like, hey, you know, this is worth like a couple $100 or $100, we'll just call it $100. They're going to be like, what the shit? That's just a toy, right? And I'm going to be like, Mom, this base gun costs like $50. And I did all this extra work on it. Like, what the hell? Same thing. Like, basically, they're just not going to know. But somebody else who has done cosplay shopping or builds it themselves, I get a lot of builders. I got a lot of cosplayers that I sell to because they know how much time it takes to make a Buster Sword.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that you have to make that Buster Sword lightweight. You've got to. You can't carry around a Buster Sword all damn convention.
Oh, God.
That weighs 40 pounds. I'm sorry, 30 pounds, 20 pounds. No, it's got to be light.
Man, a
Right?
1 pound sword weighs a ton.
Yeah.
After a couple hours work. Wow.
So we gotta build light. You gotta build to the point where you can take things apart, right? They
Great for
they,
dragging on the floor.
They break down. So a lot of that stuff is what you're paying for when you're paying for props. But as a starting off prop builder, it can be daunting. But I'd say start with stuff you like, right? Start building your own costumes, and try it too. Well, like there's a difference actually too between when somebody asks me, hey, what's this cosplay thing all about? Should I try cosplay? Yes, yes, absolutely. Cosplay, being in costume, it's for everyone. Literally, kids, dogs, old people, young people, everybody, anything, all races, religions, all that stuff. You'll have fun in costume. You just will, in my opinion.
Last con I went to, I saw an old couple in costume walking around. They had to be in their 70s.
Yeah.
Walking around. I was like, oh, there you go. They're still having fun.
But in contrast, prop building is not for everyone.
No,
right?
not everybody can.
You have to be in a certain, probably, financial state of mind. I have kids that I have to feed. I have a wife that I need to make sure is happy. Not only financially, but just the fact I spend enough time with her. Right? That's the thing. A lot of the guys in the shop literally have no kids and no girlfriend, and I'm not saying that it's like, oh, hey, that's a boon, that's a great thing, but they're able to put time into building the shop, and they're also able to play video games. They're also able to do stuff that I'm like, oh my God, I would love to play video games, but I have these other commitments too. But as a prop builder in general, if you're starting off, I guess going back to it, expect to put in way more time than you ever thought. It's way harder than it actually seems to be. It's not. I'm not trying to discourage you. It's fun. It's crazy fun. It's a good profession. It beats flipping burgers, and it beats working at all kinds of other places. But it is a lot of work, and you also have to be a self-starter and self-motivator. And networking.
especially being a parent and being married, you got to find that happy medium to make sure everybody's happy with what you want to do.
I'm kind of grateful for my current situation. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have any kids, thankfully. All I do really is I work at my day job 8 hours, 40 hours a week. Then I come home and I usually work in my shop. And I could work between 2 to 8 hours more out there.
Sure.
And sometimes, I don't feel like I can get anything done, but I'm still working. And I don't know where I was going with that.
I think you were just kind of explaining your situation, and it's
yeah.
something with that though too is you got to realize that if the girl of your dreams walks in and you're like, hey, I'm trying to be a prop builder, right? Well, you got to probably put the prop building aside to go talk to the girl of your dreams, right? That's the thing. But then you can't. You can come back to it, right? You don't have to put it completely aside either.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, listen, this is something that I'm passionate about, and by the way, that's awesome because you're passionate about building. That's cool. Maybe you have to cut out some video games. That whole time is the most valuable thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that any situation, like I wouldn't not have kids and I wouldn't not have a wife. I love them to death. They're fantastic. I would much rather kick cosplay and prop building straight to the curb than have anything happen to either of them.
Oh, yeah.
But I do look over the side of the fence, over the grass is greener, and be like, yo, that guy's really just rocking out and doesn't have any commitments in that kind of sense. But everybody's got their own problems, and everybody's got their own commitments too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something else to realize as well. It's just going to be a lot of work. It's just, I mean, honestly, as a cosplayer and as a prop builder, you're going to have to get you're going to have to put long hours in. You're going to have to get lucky as well. You're going to have to network. You're going to have to put in all the stuff that you see. Have you ever seen the iceberg, the success iceberg? It's one of my favorite fucking things. The success iceberg, Google it, go to Google Images, it'll come right up. Basically, it's successful people are like an iceberg. What people see is the very top, they see that success.
Oh, that, yeah.
And then at the bottom, underneath that iceberg, you see the whole big old sacrifice, literally financial stress, all kinds of shit tons of bad stuff. If I would not sit here and tell you that because I started this company, I've not been stressed, and because I've not been sick, and I've not actually had personal problems in general because I'm a prop builder. That's most certainly very much true. I have had that. I've had a lot of sacrifices. If you want to talk very superficial ones, I don't play video games, right? I miss people's weddings. I miss conventions that people are going to. I miss Friday nights hanging out with people because they're going to the bars and I'm sitting here trying to get a commission done, right? That's a thing. I also have a lot of really good things coming from me, from making props and doing that. But that all didn't come at the very beginning, right? That most certainly didn't come at the very beginning, as a matter of fact. And honestly, there's still things every day. I'm like, holy shit, why the fuck am I cosplaying? And why the fuck am I being a prop builder? Because I could be doing these other things, right? There's these other things that are as important or more important, and now I'm stuck in this other thing. That being said, I do love it, and it is awesome. But it's one of those things that before you hike out on your own and literally tell everybody to go fuck themselves, that you're going to be a complete, you're just going to go do it. Definitely going to do it is a great attitude to have, but make sure that you have good people around you. And one of the things that I've always said is the reason I have a team is that if I get sick for 3 weeks, can't move, I get in a hospital, I get in a crash, and I was driving a car and I got in an accident. If I'm out for 3-4 weeks, that's very minimum actually for that, right? But I mean, I've been in the hospital for a while. If I'm there for 3-4 weeks, do all my customers just, are they all up a creek? No, they're not. I have a whole team of people. The way that we make it and the way that we're actually successful is the fact that if I have to go, when my shop manager has to go, when Seth has to go, when people are having life crises, when people meet girls of their dreams, they can go do it. They have to, like, their life will happen. So in order to have this work, you have, like the way I build my team, the reason I build a team is just that. And I really encourage people. Unfortunately, I wish I would have done this earlier, but I encourage people to build a team. And when you sit here and say that you're, you're starting out cosplaying and you are Iron
Grizzly Props.
Grizzly Props, which also, by the way, looks awesome and it sounds like a great name. I love that.
Thanks.
But then you're, what prop company are you? I'm so sorry.
I'm DLC Props.
DLC Props.
No one knows of me, so I'll give you that.
So here's that. And I'm a dick for not knowing. Literally, you're seeing me talking to you. I'm sorry, breaking rule number one.
No, you're good.
But when you came in, you're like, I'm DLC Props and I'm Iron Grizzly. I'm like, why the fuck did you both tell me different names? Literally. I was confused, and you probably saw it on my face, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, right? So I was like, but you're just coming down as a team, you're here together, you're doing all this stuff together. When you're sitting there saying, and there's something else, I'm totally going to go dad mode on you. You sat here and said, hey, I built this entire costume. That was, that you've been building for a year, right? You were going on a year on this costume.
Yeah.
And the first thing that he said was, well, how many times have you asked me about this other thing? Yeah, you're a team, man. I don't care whether you know it or not. You're a team. Okay, so you can act like it or you can not, and you can be like, I'm cool in my own right. I'm cool over here, and yeah, that'll get you some places. But in reality, you're a team.
I tell people about him all the time.
Right. But how confusing is that? When you're like, I'm Iron Grizzly, but this DLC cosplay is over here. Like, what the? Huh? Like, what? I mean, I'm not saying you need to go straight up like Walking Dead and be like, we are Negan, right? But you have your own name, right? But
he's my prop dad.
Form a company together, or form a group together, or one of you adopt the other one, or whatever, if you want.
I already call you dad.
Right? So, and that's just a suggestion. Of course, I just told you like straight up that you should do that. I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just saying it's a suggestion. Like working together as a team, and that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
If here's the thing, if you are building this commission that you're working on right now, and you get sick or you have to be gone for a while, and your customer's like, hey, I want my money back, or you send me the prop, are you gonna call him and say, hey, dude, can you fix this prop for me?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, if he.
Okay, well that puts my faith in him like fucking through the roof, man. Yeah. The correct answer, I think, was yeah, but I mean, you can do what you want.
I mean, I'd ask him, but I'd be very reluctant to because I feel that since it's my company, it's my commission, it's my burden to bear.
Oh, dude. So I see that all the time with entrepreneurs, and I see that all the time with people about it's my company.
I'm new at this. Let's just put it that way. I've only been working for 2 years.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I can say that I can laugh and all this stuff because my name's on my company.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are honestly part of the real MVPs of the guys that work for me and all those is the fact that they're fine with me with going and saying we're Wulfgar Weapons, right? Like I work for Wulfgar Weapons and Props. And what's good about that is I'm good to them, right?
Yeah.
And they know that I'm there for them, and I'll pay them before I pay me, and that sort of thing happens. Most certainly that's something I do. But when it gets down to it, they're swallowing their pride to work under somebody else's quote unquote company and somebody else's name. I do think that's important.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's something that you need. You sure shit shouldn't be like, well, this is my company. I've done all this stuff. Like, I really need his help, but my pride is too much. Pride is a sin right here. By the way, I'm not trying to preach things. I'm just saying, like, the things that actually are bad in general are, you watch Full Metal Alchemist. Pride was the worst. if I had a sin, and if I had a sin, that comes from my pride. Straight up, I'm prideful, right? And it's something that it's hard to do. It's hard to swallow that. It's hard to know that. For me to sit here and say, "Hey, hi, I'm Wulfgar Weapons," and like the real reason I succeed is the whole team. It sounds good, sure, but it's 100% true, right? And if I could probably try to take some of the credit or more credit, right? Yeah, that's good and all, but it's wrong and it's not accurate, right? And part of the reason they'll work for me and they'll do well and they'll sacrifice just like the iceberg is that they know that I really do value them, right? So, and that's part of it too. That's prop building. That's some prop building for you.
That's
right. It's not team management, I guess, but
I mean, yeah, if like for this specific build, because he knows the client, because he helped me with the head cast that I had to do to make his helmet, and so he knows all of my friends that helped out on it. He was there. Yeah. So for this project specifically, I do think he would help me.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't ask if he'd help. I asked if you would ask him to.
Oh,
it's
yes.
Still on him to say, be like, yeah, I'll pick up your pieces on this build. And by the way, passing builds around in our shop, that is tough, right? If I start something, a lot of times I'll start something and be like, cool guys, can you finish this up and paint this? I laser cut this bitch, and I'm expecting it to look a certain way. And I come back and then, like they painted it gold, and I'm like, I wouldn't have painted that gold, but okay. And I have to swallow my pride a lot of times. Not always. I'm bad about that. I really am. Not gonna lie. I'll come in and be like, "What's the shit? What's this? Why didn't you do this other thing?" And I shouldn't, because quite honestly, I didn't give them that direction, and that's something I'm learning, right? Like I didn't give them that direction, and then they took the pieces that I gave them and they made something of their own, and they put stuff into it themselves. Passing off projects to each other and to and from each other is tough, but it's what you do in like a lot of businesses, and also it's just something you got to be able to do. And what's funny is like Seth will always say like he knows how to paint his way, but one of the hardest parts was learning how to paint my way, right? Like so a lot of like he had to learn how to basically paint like I do, and that's funny to say, but it's because people were looking for a certain type of paint job off Wulfgar Weapons. They want the paint job that we've gone with, right? Or at least they did, and that's kind of like the way it has to do. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have a team of people you can work with people like us, because I'm more or less consider myself a hobbyist because I stopped making money at doing it because
my
caring.
My long-term goal is to make this a full-time career.
Right.
So
as far as with what I do, as far as when it comes to the whole making side, when I have time to go to my shop, I go in my shop and I work on something for a couple hours.
Which is the point, right?
But like I could be sitting at work working on something. He'll be in his shop working. He'll text me, and within I don't know 20 minutes, depending on what I'm doing at work, I'll answer his question. Or
you'll do more than answer his question. You're at work, so you'll Google the bitch, you'll YouTube it, send him a cool ass link to exactly where he's supposed to go to buy said product or whatever, and he goes, "Sweet, thanks." And then guess what? He's your teammate. You guys are working together as a team. You can't do that. You're in the prop building your shit. He's the one looking up how to do it, and he's the one helping you out like that. By the way,
I've only looked up like one thing.
Damn it. I was completely wrong.
I've only sent him like one link, and I think that was for some Chicago screws. No.
Sure. And honestly,
I didn't know Chicago screws were a thing, and it blew my mind.
Oh yeah, dude! I didn't know Chicago screws were a thing for a long time. Chicago screws are great. By the way, if you're listening to this, you don't know what Chicago screws are. Do yourself a favor and Google Chicago screws. They're neat. They're useful. But so there's that too. Like there is that whole support system. So a lot of times when I'm trying to sit at my computer and answer emails, and basically I'm at my computer and I'm in the lab and I'm doing things for the lab, I'm able to, if somebody messages me and says, hey, what's some advice on this? Or, hey, we need to order this other thing. Or I'm going through Pop-Tarts. Or I'm going through the internet and just learning about stuff. Because, by the way, the whole entire point of this is learning. Okay? I will straight up post things that I've seen to our internal group and be like, hey guys, did you know I just posted there's a light bulb that's going around that literally looks like it's a flame. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but it's like literally on Facebook as an advertisement. It looks like just the same old advertisement you'd see on Facebook, but legitimately it's a light bulb. It's a fluorescent bulb that when you plug it into a normal light, it looks like it's on fire. It's $20 or $25 for one, right? But I'm like, guys, we gotta make a lantern out of this. Like, this shit's badass, right? And if it's as good as it looks on the thing, that's cool.
Yeah.
But basically figuring out that kind of stuff and having somebody looking at that, keeping an eye out, and literally, you can't do that all on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so something that I see happening with property owners who are doing it by themselves are very much basically trying to relearn shit that somebody else learns.
Yeah.
Somebody else does. Right? And don't get me wrong, basically going off each other is great. And do it. And definitely there's many prop builders who do great on their own. However, there are a lot of prop builders and there are a lot of cosplayers who I don't think that you have as many people working for them as you think. Right? You're like, oh man, she does a great job all on her own. No, not at all. There are a shit ton of people helping her, or at least a couple really good people helping her, or him, or whatever, right? And that's just how it goes. And the same thing with me being able to go out in costume, right? And basically dick around in costume all weekend and go spend literally, 12 conventions? 12. I'm planning on 12 this year. I've done about that much last year. And also running a costume shop and everything else. That's tough. If I had commissions to build and I had nobody else to do it, I couldn't go out and do that. But part of me going out to do it is advertising, right, and networking.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of doing this is networking.
Yeah. Also, you're making props and you're posting on things. You're not making a lot of friends, like more or less acquaintances, but you make friends online who do the same thing you do.
Sure.
Like my last episode, I talked to Eric from Core Geek Creations. I don't know Core Geek, but when I interviewed him, I had a good time talking to him, and I would consider him to be a friend that I've never met.
Absolutely. And Eric, I've never met Eric either. I've talked to him quite a few times, and he's a nice guy. He posts supportive shit.
He does.
I like supportive people. You know what really makes me happy is when I see somebody who doesn't know somebody else at all, but they just randomly post supportive stuff about that. They're being a boon to the community.
Yeah, Evil Ted's like that.
Yeah.
And with his group, somebody posts like a phone bill that they're working on, and rather it looks great or not, he's still like, man, that looks great. Just gives him that fucking confidence boost.
Well, there's most certainly that, and honestly, we all started somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you see I really should probably bring out and take pictures of my original prop, the Constantine gun, right? And be like, okay, what do you guys think about this? How much do you think they can sell this for? Literally, I wouldn't want to sell that at all. It means a lot to me, but the thing about it is it doesn't look that great. Yeah. However, it is what I learned off of.
Yeah.
Right? So if somebody posts a picture of that right now and it looks that same quality, I'm not going to be like, oh, that looks like garbage. One, why the fuck would you ever tell somebody that their work or something like that look like garbage when they put all this time into it?
Yeah, you should.
Again, rule number 1, people.
Yeah, when I get this technically is my 4th attempt. Like I mentioned, the NCR helmet I'm working on. Once I get that done, I gotta take pictures because that was more or less my basic intro into the prop costuming community as far as getting into it. But my first 2 attempts, cardboard looked to me utter garbage. But then I found Pepicura that I did that my one, the one I met, I guess you remember me being is the one I made out of Epicure
Mhm.
and all that stuff. I got another one I'm doing Epicure again, but I kind of modified it by hand with just kind of making it look different. I want to take pictures of each step, so I got my first 2 attempts that I gave up on, and my one actually finished, and the one I'm getting ready to finish, just so I can see for myself how far come along. Because it was 3 days ago that it marked 4 years of me being a prop maker. Because I started my prop page just a couple of days over 4 years ago.
Cool.
So I want to kind of see how I've progressed, I should say.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Honestly, being able to go back and look at it, seriously, every time I see that gun I made and other stuff, I'm like, that's awesome. I'm just like, I stopped for a second in the shop, and then I moved out of the way because our shop needs room. Right? I need to actually put it somewhere.
I've got those 2 helmets sitting in my shipper robe, because I basically a drawers that has some shelves in the middle of it. I just got them sitting in each little cubby. So every time I wake up, they stare at me.
Haunting you.
Yeah.
Haunting your dreams. Look, remember me. I'm here.
Well, this is why you should be better.
Yeah. By the way, there's no reason to say this is why you should be better. Like,
Yeah.
this is why you. This is what you did. This is what you do. This is the thing.
Yeah, this is more or less reminds me of that was my start. Look how far I've come from since
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
more
Absolutely.
or less. All right, man. We damn near knocked about 3 hours, about 2:45 in.
3 hours.
This-
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
I mean, I was
That's
wondering
the
when I
way.
was getting hungry. I mean, damn. We started what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, something
Feels
like
like
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Oh man, I missed some D&D sessions. I gotta go home.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man. It was fun. It was actually
Thanks for letting us talk to you.
more
We know
fun.
you're a busy guy.
More fun in person than on through a computer.
Well, yeah, I
Which-
mean, I can shake your hand and be like, "Hey, good job.
Yeah.
Thanks for this."
But man, the space is awesome. I'm happy that this kind of place exists. The work that you're doing here, building a community, thank you for that. Because if it weren't for people like you trying to build a community, our community wouldn't grow as fast as it is.
Yeah. Well, you do the same for me, and you're welcome. I guess. Like,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, and
Keep up the good work.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
And we'll see you at cons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
that's-
we'll-
like I said, it's vacation, right?
Hell yeah, I'll see you the next vacation.
Yeah, and we'll get this out to as many people as possible.
I'll share the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Cool. And then they'll look at it and be like, 3 fucking hours. I know. I would be like, yeah, just fuck right the fuck off. I mean, honestly,
Yeah. Well,
if you made it this far, holy shit.
if you've made it this far,
Thanks,
then you
people.
are awesome. But
I will personally come to your house and give you a hug.
yeah,
No, I won't. That's,
Some people like that. Some people don't. I always offer hugs, and people some people run.
don't
Like,
touch me.
But like, that's the thing. I typically only hug when I'm drunk, so that's the thing.
well, this has been episode 3 of the Origin of the Maker podcast with Wulfgar Weapons and Props. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you are a maker, it doesn't matter what it is. If you make ceramic stuff, or you're a bladesmith, or you're a prop maker, or a leather worker, or you just make stuff because you like making stuff. If you want to come on and you want to talk about how you became a maker and what interests you in the field of makery that is your fun times, get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you. And thanks everybody, and we will see you next time.